Hello, everyone, and welcome to Critical Role, where a bunch of us nerdy-ass voice actors sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons. Before we get into tonight's episode, we're going to get through a few announcements. First off, we have our wonderful Darren DePaul joining us again. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Excited to have you back. We've all recovered from a crazy Comic-Con, mostly.
Have we recovered?
I'm being optimistic here. We're recovering from a Comic-Con. Got a chance to meet a bunch of you guys out there. It was a lot of fun. But we're here to get our announcement started, so let me do that. First off, Laura.
Oh, good.
I believe there's a merch up there.
Yes, there is, and I just realized I had it on and I hadn't announced it yet.
Onto it like the ring.
I was like, "Ugh!" So we got these back in the store.
Yeah,
But they're red now, and we've got them on this chain and on this chain rope cord, and we've got them a keychain. And now, I don't know if you saw them before, but they took a long time to get, and now we just have them in the store, so you can just...
That's nice.
Are they going to run out again?
I don't know. I know it depends on how many people buy them, I guess, but we're going to try to keep them in stock like everything.
Dope.
Never, not until they do.
And then... That's the statement that, like, okay, that happened, but this is what I'm really excited about.
Tell him.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
Is the camera on? I can't
Yeah,
tell.
it's on.
It's a pencil pack.
This is all
I may have, like, asked them to make this, because this is so great. Okay, so we have our own pencils. Everybody has a pencil.
Yeah.
We've got the, how do you want to do this pencil? We've got the, I would like to rage pencil. We've got a Scanlan pencil. Oh no, this is a Terry pencil.
Oh,
this is
Terry and Darrington
a Dodie
pencil.
take this down pencil. So I don't want to say all the things because they're so great, but yeah, check them out. They're in the store now, so.
It's got a map in the back.
Does everybody want their pencil?
Are these number 2
Oh,
pencils?
this is a good one.
Could someone take the SAT with my Dodie take this down
I
pencil?
don't know.
I mean, it's a number 2 pencil.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Sorry, yeah.
Percy, what's yours?
I don't want to say.
Okay.
There's mine. Do you want the trinket
Some
pencil?
surprises.
Darren?
Yeah, the doy.
Oh,
Oh,
And
that's
it's
a good one.
Is this the
oh,
trinket
this
one?
is a pike one.
oh my God!
And here's yours, Matt.
Oh,
So yeah,
It's dope.
it's pretty
And the
dope. So
package is
check them
sick.
out. I'm in love.
What's great is if you use it a lot, eventually, how do you want to do this becomes, do you want to do this? To, you want to do this? To, want to do this? To do this? Do this? To... This. So like, it's existential the entire time you're using the pencil. I'm really excited about
God, I
that.
hadn't even thought about that.
I'm so excited now to
That's
see what it
pretty
spells out.
Yeah.
It just keeps on giving.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome. I'm excited.
Yeah,
All right.
inevitable.
Next up, for Gen Con, we have our live show. We only have about 400 tickets left.
is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For us?
I mean, like,
Yeah.
We're just a bunch of nerdy ass voice actors.
I know.
Yeah, we already
get
surpassed
tickets.
the
We're okay.
number of seats we had last year. Because
that's
we have an
great.
extra 1,000 seats in this larger theater. It's going to be a madhouse. We only have
Yeah.
400 left. So
And there may or may not be. I don't know if I should announce this.
what?
One of us is going to die that night, and I
No.
don't mean a character.
We may or may not
writers
have
are working very hard.
special merchandise that you can only get at the live show.
Whoa.
So I
But
just.
surely it will be in the store afterwards,
Nope,
Laura?
it's just a live show thing.
Just exclusive to the live show?
we'll see. You'd have to be there to find out. So if there is a car, a plane, or a train, or a telephone booth around you, get
Yeah.
to Indianapolis. August 18th.
August 18.
There you go.
How's that?
Critical Shit, it was terrible. It
That's pretty.
really bad.
Damn it.
I'd be excited if anybody got my Wonder Shows in reference. All right, so.
Not even anyone at the table.
No. That means you need to be enlightened by the wonder that is Wonder Shows. No, you should not.
anybody
It's
want the
disturbing as
keychain?
shit.
Really disturbing.
Yeah,
Of course he does.
Just stacking you up today, boy.
Please, ever, thank you so much for this. It makes me very happy.
Give him anything he wants if he keeps making that sound. All right, campaign guide info. Update on the campaign guide stuff I would like to give you. However, I think it's probably easier to get it from the mama bird's mouth. So we actually have in the studio today joining us Chris Pramus from Green Ronin. Come in and join me down here for a second and talk to the camera.
Hi.
Hey, buddy. So
Low to
Is this all right?
You're the
I think we're all right.
So you might just see your forehead.
Just the forehead? Just like the neighbor?
There it is.
There we
Never
go.
had anyone enter.
Yeah, I know.
This is the first like back.
So what's the update?
Last week we put the campaign guide up for sale, and it exceeded all of our expectations. Yes. So thank you to everyone who pre-ordered. This was by far the most successful pre-order that we've ever had on a book. So rocking. It has led to an unexpected complication, though, in that our initial print run is of a size that cannot be changed right now, and we had to stop taking pre-orders so we would have some to send to stores because obviously we value game stores and we want them to have some.
Yes.
So I just wanted to reassure everybody that this book is not a limited edition book. Like, we're printing more. So if you were not able to pre-order it, you will be able to get it later. Yes. We're basically going to immediate reprint. And then in the interim, the PDF is still available, so you can just get that if you like electronic books. Or if you have a local store, they can take part in what's called our Pre-Order Plus program, and it allows people to pre-order through the store and then get the $5 PDF deal that we were offering as part of the pre-order. So if you ask your local stores, do you take part in Pre-Order Plus? If you need a link for that, you can check our Twitter, and otherwise, second print run will be along as soon as we can get it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you. All right, do the show. Yeah. Oh, and we'll have copies at Gen Con.
Yes. Have copies of Gen Con.
Even more reason.
Thank you, buddy.
Boy, is that book fucking beautiful.
It is. Good job. Good job,
job.
you guys.
I'm so nervous about its release.
I have some notes on the cover.
I have some notes in the book. Could it have less words?
No, it just
More
has less
pictures.
gnome bard.
No.
Oh, shit.
Right.
The whole race died off in a calamity. They don't know what happened. Pike was the
It's
only
so
one who
weird.
was spared.
So
Read
weird.
the book. It's in the book.
Don't worry, we have a fix in the way. It'll be fine. All right, next up, Critical Role podcast on iTunes and such. When is
More is coming very soon.
very soon? Cool. So we have
Very soon.
we have the next batch to drop.
Next batch is coming.
Cool. So we'll have that announcement as soon as we have the specific dates. But the next batch should be coming up very soon. Once again, we have Vox Machina on Tuesdays. We'll be next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific to discuss this episode tonight with our fantastic host, Brian Foster. So looking forward to that. Let's see. The Sagas of Sundry Dread show, me and Towson are part of. 5th episode is up today on Alpha, so if you get a chance to...
It's almost over.
I know, we have one more episode of this, right?
And check out these awesome
Oh, yeah.
red
those for
shirts,
sale?
you guys. Yeah, they're in the
Dread shirts
store.
are,
Aren't they awesome?
Stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get to watch, if you haven't seen it yet, it's a fantastic kind of pseudo theater improv RPG horror show with me and Towson as part of the cast. Marisha is one of the executive producers, and Darren DePaul is our fantastic kind of Rod Sterling intro personality. So check it out if you haven't yet.
Mr. Wren.
Mr. Wren. It's a fun one. Let's see. I think that's it.
Wait,
Wait,
no.
no, there's a couple more things.
Okay, well, they're not on the list.
Yeah, we
Well,
didn't
you
put
got
them
a
on
little
it.
boxy back there that you should pull out.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
Does it
What
have
is
a
it?
small
What is it?
creature in it? A small
Does
creature.
it have air hose? What is it?
This question has come up a lot. The combat tiers, the plastic platforms that are used for height in the game, have been out of stock, out of production for a while now. They're finally available again. Our friends at Emerald Knights got us these boxes, and these are available off of the
Paizo
Paizo.
website.
So Paizo.com, you can go ahead and pick up the combat tiers. They are now available again if you've been wondering where the heck to get some.
And they're out of stock.
I think Jay at Emerald Knights told me that they're going to be in stores soonish as well, but you can go to Paizo right now, tweet, and go find them.
Right. These have saved my ass many times in games, as you've seen. So highly recommended for anyone who's DMing or running a game. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
been in our game since day one.
I remember when I got those for you, and they were still like prototypes on just
Yeah, they're like a
white
little
box.
standard cardboard box. You're like, this looks like it should work.
Yeah.
Saved my ass.
And Laura and I are in this really cool game called Lone Echo
Lone Echo!
Ready at Dawn. We
That's the guys that did the order.
mhm.
Yeah.
nice.
We both play AI.
We do. We're
in that.
computers.
Yes, very calm the whole time.
That's right.
That's right.
We'll help you out. Which is cool. It's VR. It's really
beautiful.
badass.
It's
so
beautiful.
check it out.
That's great. Well, cool. Thank you guys for the update.
Oh,
What you got, Sam?
No, I got nothing.
Well then, without further ado,
My little trinket dice bag isn't here.
Nobody cares but you.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
I think it's still in the. No, it's still in the thing.
so to announce that her bag is in here, we're gonna take a moment to work.
Sorry,
Just
sorry.
the cow stomach.
Let's do
I'll
this.
go
okay.
and get it one during the credits.
There you go. There you go. And that being said, guys, let's go ahead and bring this down into tonight's episode of Critical Role. And welcome back, everybody. So, last we left off, Vox Machina have been finding their way through the realms to talk with various deities in hopes of getting information and perhaps a blessing or two to aid them in their coming battle against Vecna, the intent to ascend entity, the long, I guess missing and recently returned Archlich that plagued the end of the Age of Arcanum. You have since discovered the location of his rebirth, followed into the Shadowfell through the city of Tharamfala, took down his Tower of Entropis, did battle, and nearly fell. You escaped in time, and in this recovery period have been seeking out information on how to stop him before this ascension occurs, and by what tools necessary. You've traveled to the Blessed Fields of Elysium, where you met Pike's deity, the Everlight, Sarenrae, where she received her blessing. You made your way to the Fortress of the Sun, where you met with the Dawnfather Pelor, took his challenge, and received his blessing. You were then given information about the whereabouts of Ioun, the knowing goddess, under the domain of knowledge, who had been hidden away since her wounding during the calamity. The key to her realm was apparently hidden within not an object, but an individual. And with given loose information about the whereabouts of this individual, you tracked down a small home in the forested regions outside the pools of Wittebach in the Cliffkeep Mountains. There you spoke with this individual, this Sprigg the Obnoxious, and then were immediately assailed by a number of assassins sent by the Whispered One Vecna, apparently keeping watch on your current location and able to send such groups of assassins with vast haste. You did battle, managed to save the life of Sprigg the Obnoxious, and through conversation unveiled that he was indeed a key to this realm. Keyleth, by entwining your hands with the rest of the party and focusing on this strange magical essence hidden within Sprigg's form, you completed your plane shift spell. You found yourself suddenly within a dimension of an endless library, shelves of winding books and tomes that seem to spiral beyond sight. And in the midst of this amazing atmosphere, a voice called you to a central portion of the chamber. And there, it seems, you've come across the knowing mistress, Ioun herself, there, awaiting your arrival.
Wait, did we see her? Did we see her?
You did.
Okay, is she old or young? I just can't remember.
So, I'm going to go over this
Okay.
here. I'm going to get you in space. So, I'm kind of, to bring us back into the moment.
Just gonna paint a happy little god. Just paint a happy little god.
So you glance around, your vision darting from shelf to stack. The darkly lit area is empty of anything but empty vessels carrying books. Until you see it. The shelves have stopped ahead to reveal a circular common area within the library, where the ground domes downward, an 80-foot concave pit of cushions and tables, all standing at odd angles without sliding, holding teacups and writing implements against gravity as you know it. Long, spiraling streams of silver, blue, and gray silk descend from the supposed ceiling that is beyond your sight, the material resting in gentle piles amongst the cushions. Sorry, microphone. Against the cushions. Sitting within the center of the dome, no larger than a normal person, is an older woman of long, wavy silver hair. Her olive skin is somewhat weathered with wrinkles, but the warmth of her smile and her vibrant purple eyes put you at ease. Her blue and white robes tumble out from her form in tendrils of parchment that snake through the pillows like roots of a giant tree. This is the mistress, and she beckons you forward.
We step forward.
No, yeah, I think we should.
Are we like on the edge of the bowl? Is she in the bowl and we're on the edge of the bowl?
Yeah, you guys are on the edge of it. She's in the very center of it.
Are we going to go into the bowl?
Are we allowed?
Nothing seems to be holding you back.
I'm going to start.
Oh, Ioun. Oh, goddess of knowledge. Oh, Lord who knows all. You know. But I don't. Let me ask you a question. And you see, I didn't phrase that as a question because I know how gods work, and that probably would have been my question, and then I might as well have just talked to a turnip, which I've done, found it pleasant. That being said, this is my question. The next thing out of my mouth is going to be my question. Why did you choose me to be your key? I'm nothing. I'm a coward. Why would you ever choose me?
Good question.
She opens her arms as you stand at the edge of this domed precipice, and you watch as the tendrils kind of unfurl, kind of pulling back a bit, revealing small pathways to walk down toward her, and her arms kind of open in a welcoming motion.
Yeah.
I'm walking
yeah.
in.
Let's go in. Take a tumble.
The purpose in choosing you, Sprigg, was, as with all the other keys I've chosen before you, an unlikely choice. You were at odds with many of my outlooks. But I saw within you still the seed of the seeker of knowledge. So, in that balance, I found a proper vessel. Someone who, at once, would not be the choice that I would make to hide my key.
Thank you.
But a person not beyond the realm of redemption within the domain that I look over.
Thank you.
Now come, please, sit. You've come a long way. I'm curious as to what your reasons are for coming to me at this hour, and I wish to see if my assumptions are correct. Sit.
Don't know already.
The goddess of knowledge is implied in the title. No, not insulting anyone. Like, knock, knock.
Who's there?
You would know.
You watch as her stoic expression curls into a smile and her head kind of falls back a bit to a small chuckle.
Humor is perhaps a bit thin in these walls as of late. It's nice to have a laugh. Thank you.
Excellent.
Who was it, though?
It was me the whole time.
It was Larkin, my friend.
Larkin.
I don't know who that is.
Many don't.
Well said.
Oh, mighty Ioun, we are here to ask you for help. For a great danger. You might already know this, but a great danger has befallen the world. There is one who has come from another plane to become a god himself, Vecna. And he, for all we know, he may already have achieved godhood, but he's well on his path.
I know much about this individual you speak, and I had assumed this was the reason for your arrival.
Do you know if he's been successful?
I do not. I have not sensed any change in the cosmetology of the world.
That's good.
Cosmology.
I thought that was like hair
That's
and
a
makeup.
different word.
I'm not wearing eyeliner.
I mean, not that you're not.
Either one.
Her domains expand beyond just knowledge, guys.
Goddess of knowledge
Hence
and
the
makeup.
unfurling.
I've been thinking about getting some highlights for this beard.
It's Frenchy.
Yeah.
Beautiful
I
job.
know.
But no. You see, this Vecna is in direct opposition to what I represent, and I believe has taken some precautions to keep from my distant sight. So while I have assumptions in what information makes its way to me, there is a bit of relying on you to fill in the gaps.
What do you wish to know?
Well, do you intend to return to face this entity, or have you chosen or found champions in Exandria who would rise up against this individual?
I didn't even realize that was an option.
Hadn't occurred to us.
Wow, maybe that's very self-centered of us now that I think about it.
We
No.
intend to face him down ourselves.
Yeah, we want to fight.
We're heading his direction, no matter what.
Do you think you have the strength required to do this?
Well,
We're gathering the strength right now. Some among us have already. The one who's making a weird face has already sworn allegiance to another god, and
Yeah, hashtag blessed.
Her eyes close for a minute and she nods.
The coming fight does indeed warrant the aid that these journeys would muster. And I can see the touch of my brethren on you already.
And she kind of notions towards Vax and Vex and Pike.
Even with these gods, there is still much doubt as to our success. We are not certain. We are not.
We fought once and we like
best hopeful.
Like if this is a broom motion, like we were just getting like swooped, swept. What is it?
It was.
yeah.
She gets
Swift.
Penel mentioned something about the prime tremors.
I was wondering if that would surface. Well then, if you are indeed here seeking my gift, know that I do not grant it lightly. For those who are not already claimed,
And she glances around the rest of the group and
Grog Strongjaw.
oh wow.
Just being within my realm is of near painful discomfort to you. For that I apologize, and can see you are not to be my vessel.
It's okay, Grog.
Oh,
It's all right,
what a
Grog.
roller coaster! Like, I was going up and then right down.
That was cold.
Thank you for your gaze, my lady.
Grog just invented amusement park rides.
Keelith of Zephyra,
You're the one.
you have been carved from empathy and acceptance. While you do indeed pursue understanding, my gifts find little purchase on your path of responsibility. Percival, Frederickstein von Musel, Kowalski de Rolo III.
She knows everything.
Jesus.
You have always been a student of knowledge and a seeker of truths. I'm fond of your hunger for understanding. But you do keep your secrets and are selfish with your discoveries still. You have much growing to do. Scanlan Shorthalt, you are a buffoon. At least that is the facade you craft and display to the world while you weave tales of the experiences around you and share your stories with any who would listen. You wrestle the mysteries of Exandria from their hidden places and shout them to any who would listen and inspire the lost to find purpose. You hold the blade of the White Duke and walk a parallel path. You are a storyteller, and I am the keeper of all stories. I shall task you with my challenge.
Not to question your infinite knowledge and judgment, but my stories are more of little barroom tales and silly poems to pass the time. I would hardly call them epic histories of civilization.
For now, perhaps.
They're all stories in the end. Just make sure yours is a good one.
Do you think that your compatriots would have the strength now to rise against such a scourge, had you not been there to lift their spirits with these tales?
It's true, Scum.
I'm really powerful.
Yeah.
And humble.
It's my
And
best asset.
deeper than you let on.
And the cube.
And a cube.
The cube.
She glances over at you with a knowing look.
If you have faith in me, I will have faith in you and trust you and your knowledge. And I will try to complete any task you ask of me.
Then let the challenge be placed before you.
Oh.
Scanlan Shorthalt, somewhere within this library lies the book that contains the incantation of isolation, the arcane rite that banished the chained oblivion. You have 1 hour to retrieve it. Your friends can help you, but you can only present 1 tome to me. And should it be incorrect, then I shall await another warrior of keen mind to find me and accept my gift. For I can only guide one strong enough to face the foe before you. Return to me when you are certain you have found it. Your challenge begins now.
And with that, her entire body just vanishes in a gust of wind. All the little tendrils of paper flutter out and come to rest within the dome. And you look up and see the immensity of this library.
I had a couple more questions.
Incantation of isolation.
Incantation of
I
isolation.
speak primordial.
We don't know the name of the book, right? So we can't locate
There's a
object.
tome that contains the incantation of what?
Isolation.
Isolation.
Which was what they used.
What is with this pencil?
Oh,
It was like dipped in ketchup or something.
Don't use that pencil. Use one of your own.
But it needs to be sharpened. Wait.
Just push really hard.
Yes.
How do we do that?
Sprigg. Yes.
Do you have a tome at your place that has the incantation of isolation?
Not anymore.
Oh, shit.
Bernie, Ashy, bye-bye.
Do you remember the name of it?
No.
I'm gonna try cast locate object and just say I cast it on the tome that contains the incantation of isolation.
Sure, yeah, that's a
Try
fun-
it. Why not?
Alrighty.
Could it work like that?
I don't know. It was.
Object known to you as long as you've seen it up close, within 30 feet at least once.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, it's the spell I have now.
Oh shit.
Well, describe or name an object that is familiar to you. You sense the direction of the object's location, as long as that object is within 1,000 feet of you.
Okay.
1,000.
So you cast.
Seen it.
So you cast the spell,
Oh, yeah.
and you think about it, and you concentrate. Nothing.
I'm gonna kneel down and pray to the Dawnfather, since he was one of the ones that helped fight the Chained Oblivion, to see if he can guide us at all.
Okay. You close your eyes and focus, and you begin to beseech the knowledge and wisdom of the Dawnfather. 2 minutes pass with no answer.
Well, you guys can keep doing things while I'm doing
During
this.
that 2 minutes, I'm going to scan the room. Is there any kind of design or purpose to the layout of the room? Or anything that stands out besides books?
As you glance around the room, quickly, you see there are probably 24 bookshelf or aisle openings all around this central dome area. You begin to look around. You don't see any specific signs. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
I'm going to use my last luck. The sleep cycle. Natural 20.
Okay.
Oh!
Glancing about, you don't see any signs on the books. You do notice, though, however, there are hundreds of those somewhat spectral keepers of the library that are moving tomes through and organizing and relocating things. They're just like you saw when you first entered.
Calamity.
They're spectral.
They're spectral, yeah.
You can't. Okay, I'm gonna go try to talk to one of them.
Okay. No, one of them is currently pulling books out. And you can see the basic shimmering outline of a humanoid form, and they're just taking a book off and stacking it and finding another.
Hello, sir. Do you have language? Can you speak?
Ken turns and looks to you for a second.
Can you help us find a book? It contains an incantation of isolation. Or about the Chained Oblivion.
Or about the calamity.
Where are the lives of those who witnessed it?
It just doesn't seem to be at this moment.
No chance.
I'm gonna hop on my broom and see
wait.
if I get a ping on my locate
Before
object.
we start flying around, what do we know? When was this last used? This book?
When
During the
886 years ago, or whatever, right?
Yeah, was it that?
812 years
Great
ago.
Calamity.
Wow, you know that?
Right.
Well, it's 812 P whatever PD, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So 812 years ago.
For the virgins.
So we're looking for a very old book.
Yes.
Who was used by Ioun? Who was it used by?
Potentially, or the
it was
Dawnfather
the
helped seal
Dawnfather helped
with Ioun.
Correct.
So it's some sort of a wizard's tomb, sorcerer's tome?
I have a question. Didn't one of us have a potion or scroll of language speaking or
Somebody
language?
did.
Didn't we have that?
Do any of the tomes have titles on them though?
On the spines.
Glancing about, and some of them do. They're all in Celestial. You can-
Celestial.
I'm going to read off some of the
Yeah.
titles.
Primordial.
None visibly currently in Primordial. No.
Is that the language they used before the?
I feel like Celestial is but the Dawnfather would speak though.
Celestial would be close. I would think more closer than primordial, but
Okay.
primordial
So make
might
an
be in
investigation
there.
check. Who else is looking through books?
Although I don't speak Celestial, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, make separate investigation checks.
Can I-
12.
We're making investigation checks.
Anybody who's searching currently, or doing something that involves searching through books.
Ooh.
26?
21.
21?
20.
12.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
22.
All right. You guys begin just fanning out, and it's so overwhelming. It's so immense. There's just thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of books within your immediate visual vicinity. And like I said, about 150 feet beyond you, it just seems to fade into shadow. And the more you walk towards that shadow, it just reveals more books. And they curve and spiral and almost seem to intertwine in that kind of Escher painting-like advance towards this ceiling that you don't see.
Does it seem like some are older than others?
Yeah, they seem scattered. As you're going around, you find some are celestial. The further away from the center you get, you do find some sections that are in other languages. You do see some that are in abyssal. You don't find any that are primordial yet.
Scattered amongst or categorized by language?
The ones that are nearest to the center here are all names. They are all names of people.
Okay.
So we need to find one that's not a name of a person.
Are there?
But who used the incantation of isolation? Perhaps if we find the
That
book of the
book.
user, we
Was
will
it
find their
Pelo?
spells.
Does Pelo have a book?
Would they have a book if they are they dead? I guess if they're...
No, it continues writing, right? Potentially there's a book.
So there's a book that says Pelor on it.
Or
Or Ioun.
Father or something.
Or Dawnfather.
Or if Vecna is a dead man, maybe a book with Vecna's name on it?
I don't know why that the incantation of isolation would be.
Hey,
would have heard it.
Percy, are these books arranged in any sort of order? Chronological, name, anything? Oh, you didn't see anything when you looked?
You're having a hard time really finding any sort of pattern
There's
to the
no
books.
pattern that I can.
Can I look at the book binding though? Does some books seem like they would like fall apart more? Or
Yeah, I mean,
like
there's a
yellower?
wide variety of ages and types, and it's hard. Once again, like the sense of the pattern of like the sections of books. Some of them seem to be clustered together, and some of them seem to have similar colorations. The further into the side, and the further out you get from this, the more kind of scattered they get. It's almost like the organization begins from the center, and either reorganized for reasons that are beyond your comprehension, and you get this sense as you begin to hear this slight grunting. You got the natural 20?
Earlier,
Yeah. So you've been kind of glancing about and looking about. You kind of pick up the slight sound. And you look up and you can see some of these shelves that are coming down from the ceiling, kind of stopping about 30 feet above you, are sliding and moving. The actual library seems to have some sort of slow, rearranging movement to it.
I'm gonna pop out the wings.
Okay.
Go up.
Is there any type of a... I start looking at the ceiling. Is there any type of, what are those, like the observatory, like, what are those called, Percy? The celestial tell you the stars thing?
like some sort of
like the giant...
astrolabe or something like that.
Yeah. Astrolabe, or like you know those big rotating things you can put in the year and the month in the calendar.
Oh, right. Nothing you've
like
seen
that?
so far. Make a perception check.
Also, astrolabe and Ori.
Don't fuck
Do you have any ideas?
What am I looking for? Perception check?
Yep.
That's good. That's good.
She calls on you. It makes me think
30
it's-
total.
Looking around your current vicinity, you see nothing like that. And you have a pretty clear
Are there any books
bead on
in the bowl?
There are a handful that are on one of them. Like
I'm going to just take a look at what's in the bowl.
I jump in and start throwing pillows around. Does she leave anything cool behind?
As you're throwing the pillows, some of them kind of fling off to the side. You uncover what looks to be a couple of empty cups of tea.
I drink them.
All right, you get some kind of stale library temperature tea. You do find a couple of large books on one of the nearby tables.
Ooh, I found a large book on one of the nearby tables.
I'm going to read the names of these books.
Okay. One of them, the name is Jaina Kumor. Doesn't ring a bell. And another one appears to be a book that pertains to the attempts of creating alchemical transitions from one base element to another. Essentially, what was the attempt at a philosopher's stone-like object long ago, and the various trials and tribulations and unfortunate deaths that occurred because of it.
Interesting. Do I see anything different 100, 150 feet up? Does the change in perspective on the room below reveal anything?
The change of perspective shows you one. You do finally see a ceiling, and it's like two mirrored libraries in the ceiling and the floor. There are bookshelves that come up and stop, and there are bookshelves that come down and stop.
Oh.
And you look up and you can see there are other spirits kind of hanging upside down, walking along the pathways above as well, that are just...
on the ceiling.
Oh, Castlevania Symphony of the
Wait,
Night.
so it's like a mirror image, the top and bottom?
Kind of, yeah.
Just meeting
But they're not exact mirror images. There's just a bottom and a top part of the library.
Oh wow.
What if that line is the demarcation between
The divergence.
the divergent, pre-divergence and post-divergence?
Yeah,
or
that's
something
cool.
like
That's
that?
cool. Go up and in. Go up and in.
I can't.
Here, get on the broom scan then.
Okay.
We'll fly up.
All right, so Scanny, you jump on her broom, you fly up. Who's taking a look? Make an investigation check.
I'm gonna take a look, but I'm gonna pull out my my Ioun stone and just clutch it in my hand and kind of close my eyes and pray on it for a second.
Okay.
Hope that guides me in some way.
Roll a religion check.
Religion.
Come on.
buddy.
Okay, well that's terrible, but
Luck.
I don't have luck.
Wrong guy.
Can you inspire yourself?
I can inspire
That
myself.
poor bastard.
I will inspire myself with a little song.
Okay.
Scan, Len, Sito, he's got tiny feet, oh. When he likes to cast spells, he does it with his feet, oh. When you go to sleep, oh, better check your Cheetos, cause after he eat those, he likes to take a Cheeto.
Oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? What the hell, man?
All right.
Give me that book.
Yeah, you earned that D12.
That's a 12.
Yay!
All right,
So
so
that brings it up to 21.
okay, this is your investigation check to search about. Oh no, it's a religion check.
Yes.
All right, clutching the Ioun stone as you sing this song, the stone kind of glows ever so faintly in your hand, and you glance up and you can see about 10 of the various spectral librarians that are wandering have stopped, and they're all just looking at you, seemingly temporarily distracted or entranced by the
Go try
song.
to talk to one.
Okay. Whoa.
You land next to all the librarians, and as soon as you land, there's like a moment of quiet, and they all go about their business again.
On behalf of the Mistress Ioun, I speak in her name, and I'll hold up the stone.
It's always good to lie in the fucking presence.
Well, she tapped me. She tapped me. It's not a lie. She tasked me with this. We seek a book. We would love some help. And it contains the incantation of isolation, maybe about 812 years old-ish, maybe 813.
No one seems to be paying attention to your words.
Maybe you have to speak that shit.
Maybe
Maybe
sing
you
it.
have to sing it.
I have to sing it.
Sing it.
Pull out myth cover.
Pull out the cover and sing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I pull out a sword. I don't think it's seem
Sure,
like I'm
yeah.
gonna.
It's a bardic sword.
No,
Okay,
no,
sing
no.
those
Yeah,
spirits.
Just sing like you're, like it's a microphone.
Okay. Just take a look. It's in a book. The Scanlan Rainbow. I can read anything.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You watch as the same librarians all of a sudden stop what they're doing and turn back towards you. The sword is kind of vibrating and ringing. It's expanding the notes of your song,
Oh my God.
as is the nature of Mythcarver. You seem to have their attention.
Now ask. Now sing and question.
It's been about 20 minutes, by the way.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, Ioun.
I sing to you in desperation. I'm looking for a tome of isolation. We need to find a tome so we can go home and kill a guy named Vecna. It would really make us. Nothing rhymes with Vecna.
Roll a performance check.
29.
Yeah.
Whoa. You watch as the librarians kind of gather like they're up above you, and they gather closely to you as you're singing this song. And as you finish your final verse, they all look a little confused, and they all begin to shift as one unit around the edge of one of the bookcases.
Scanlan. Scanlan.
What?
We have an earring. No, right?
Yeah, fucking
Sorry.
jeez.
The library. Keep quiet.
Your stories. It's your storytelling. Keep telling the story about the calamity. Maybe if you talk about Vecna some more and what happened.
I don't know my history.
Roll a history check.
Tell him Heckna rhymes with Vecna.
Yeah, oh, thanks.
If it helps at all.
23.
Okay, I mean,
Really good at lying.
That's true.
Vecna didn't have too much involvement in the calamity directly. The calamity mainly involved the gods battling and involved
Chained Oblivion.
the Chained Oblivion involved the sealing of that deity during one of the major battles of the calamity. Though those are elements of the history that pertain to the calamity that you recall.
But we're following the little surge of spectrals.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep talking, I guess. The book we're looking for is fraught with insanity. It dates back to the time of calamity. It's about a guy with oblivion chains. You know his name. What's his name, yo? I got nothing.
He's the Chained Oblivion. His name is the Chained Oblivion.
Oh God.
Because he's sealed.
Because he's sealed.
Oh my God.
Oh fuck.
We are those people.
Manuel
Okay.
just turned it off.
Yep. Sorry. All right. So, as you continue to sing, the more with each beat, each name that's mentioned that deals with the calamity, and the Chained Oblivion, you watch as their pace seems to quicken a bit. And then as the singing kind of slows, they begin to slow down again. There's a specific correlation and drive between your storytelling and your song singing and apparently the drive in which they're pushing towards
Keep telling the story. Just keep telling the story.
Telling the song about Vecna just might wreck you.
Okay.
It's close. It doesn't work.
Sprigg, okay, I got it.
You hear Sprigg yelling from down below as he doesn't have any earring.
If we don't act soon, Vecna might just wreck you. I got it in there for you.
Thanks. Tell him about your neck, Ma.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what?
If you're discussing your neck to your mother, you
Sprigg!
What?
I'm getting confused.
Oh, right. People get paid for that.
Oh, my God.
Call back to earlier discussion. But nobody knows.
God, I hope I get it.
The book is 8 centuries old, or so I'm told. Yeah. It's fraught with mystery. It's teeming with history. So please listen to me and don't kiss me because I really need this book right now.
Roll another performance check.
Yes, come on.
No.
Inspire yourself.
22.
22, okay.
Sweet Jesus.
They continue to push at a brisk pace, and you watch as other of these special librarians begin to gather into this group, and it's now a cluster of about 25 of them that are like snaking around these bookcases and traveling at a pretty fair pace, which once was a walking pace and then went to a jogging pace. They're now like darting through, and they're leading you quickly away from the center of the library where everyone else seems to be clustered.
Yeah.
So the two of you kind of following and swishing behind them, you're going over and around bookcases. Some of the bookcases you see have like giant holes in the center, and you can kind of dart through and dive past. The speed is increasing to the point where the wind's starting to kick up in your hair, and you're kind of amazed at the speed of these librarians and the fact that they're being driven by your very song. And also the fact that you have no idea how far away the rest of your friends are in this library. And this library seems to just go on and on and on. You continue forward for another 10 minutes or so. So you've hit just over the 30-minute mark at this point, and you feel this little pulse in the stone. Do you continue to inspire?
I will do one more. I hope it works. I'll recite a poem. This little Nomi went to the heavens. This little Nomi wants to go home. This little Nomi's looking for a book. This little Nomi's trusting Ioun. This little Nomi wants to go wee, 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 all the way to this tome.
Wow. Roll a performance check with advantage.
Natural 20.
Didn't even need it. Didn't even need it.
Hashtag blessed.
So, the speed is dangerous to the point where, as trying to follow them, you almost lose sight of them a couple times. You, being the driver of this, I need you to go ahead and make, this would be a perception check to make sure you can keep them in your vision.
Damn, Scanlan got bars, y'all.
22.
22, okay, that's enough.
Okay.
You nearly lose them a few times, and you're like, ugh. You have to take a second and kind of listen out there, and you see a faint glow of their spectral form in the distance. Go, there! And so you continue to give chase. Then eventually, at about the 40-minute mark or so, you come to the outside of what looks to be. And what's interesting, too, is a lot of these bookcases are made of different materials. Like some of them like dark wood, light wood, some of them are like metal and various substances. You come to what appears to be on the ceiling, jammed in. It looks like a bookcase, but it's made of a very, very dark, like almost slate gray metal. And it has chains across it and a series of locks on it. And you see them, all the librarians are just clustered and encircled around it right now.
And they open it up.
Oh. Okay. Can you open it up?
Find somebody that can pick them locks.
There's no response
They don't
from
have
them.
physical. Wait, they can pick books.
They can pick up books, but they don't seem to have
Yeah, Vax, can you hear me?
I can't.
Oh,
I
but
don't
it's
know.
so far
500
away.
feet.
We've been traveling for.
I know.
You've been traveling for a while,
time.
so your tooth
No?
isn't here.
I can try to pick it. I can try.
Come on, multi-classing into that road.
Yeah.
Get it, girl.
All right, so you fumble around and quickly pull out your
My
thieves' tools.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and roll a d20. Add your dexterity modifier and your proficiency bonus.
My proficiency.
Or
I'm gonna inspire her.
Okay.
I'm so vain. I probably think the song is about me. I'm so vain.
Dad, I got a 1 on your inspiration.
Okay,
Thanks for
great.
that.
You rolled well.
But I
You
rolled
rolled
well,
well.
so it doesn't matter. Hopefully. 18 plus my dexterity modifier plus my proficiency
Yes.
bonus.
Yeah.
30.
Wow.
Yeah, she rolled a 19.
Yep. The DC was 30.
Plus inspiration was 31.
All right.
So,
Yeah, the DC on that was 30.
oh jeebies.
Wow. So
There are DCs up to 30? Sure.
yeah, 30 is considered nearly impossible.
In godly realms.
now.
Don't say. What happens when you say that shit? Don't say that.
Stop it. Don't say
No, I'm
God.
just saying the difficulties are going to get harder.
Somebody's gonna
Oh, okay, in a
splat.
God realm it will be.
Yeah,
I understand
yeah.
what she's saying.
Okay,
You say
so
God and I go,
so as you work your way down the chain, you get through a few of them, and there's one big lock in the center that is kind of bolted into this what looks to be a big double doorway or hinged opening to this bookcase, and this one takes you a few moments to get into. And it snaps your lockpick. And as soon as you hear the tink, your heart sinks. But you still have a little bit of leverage, and you push forward on the broken pick, and it's just enough to get the tumbler to click in. So your lockpick is busted. You're gonna have to get a new one. However, it does open on one side.
oh my God. That was the hottest lock I've ever picked, I swear.
You open it, and you can see what appear to be about 25 different books of different shapes, sizes, colors, all ancient, that are all in this small locked section.
Are any of the spectrals like just looking at one specifically?
No, they are all just at this side.
Can you do your Ioun stone in?
Sure. I'll
Does anything
blacklight.
glow?
I'll blacklight it.
Yeah.
Does it glow for anything in particular?
Okay. You take your Ioun stone, and as you go across, it doesn't seem to
Great.
have an effect.
All right,
on
I'm gonna
any of
just
that.
quickly scan the books to see if any of them look particularly old.
Okay.
Can I read any of them?
What languages do you know?
Elvish, Common, Undercommon, Abyssal, and Draconic.
And you.
Not much. No Marquesian and Common.
Okay. There are let's say about 10 of them you cannot read. There is one book that has nothing on the spine, it's just blank. You see about 5 of them appear to be in Abyssal, and you're reading through them. A lot of them talk about, they are history books that talk about the Lord of the Hells. There's one that speaks on rites and rituals of sacrifice. There's one that talks about the annihilation of a race that no longer exists in the world during the Age of Arcanum. There's one that talks about the birth of the Rune Children. There's a number of all these sort of books here that all talk about different things, but nothing seems to stand out to you as the tome you might be looking for.
Well, I could potentially try to grab all of them and shove them in the bag of colding.
And then what? How many minutes are left, and how far are we from our friends?
You have about 15 minutes left, and it's about 10 minutes of travel.
Oh shit.
We could take them all back and see if anyone can read.
I mean, it seems pretty shitty just dump them out in a pile, but I
We
don't
can
know what
bring
else
them
to
back.
Yeah. So spirits will put it.
The one that has nothing on the binding. Can I just open that and flip through real quick?
Okay. Yeah, you pull
I
it out.
start grabbing other ones and
Okay,
putting
so
them in the bag.
you pull out the one with nothing on it. It's like a it's a very thin book. It's only about that wide or so, and it's like a dark gray leather. It looks damaged. It looks like part of it's burnt and kind of scarred up on the outside. There's no words on the cover, and you open it up, and it's about 4 pages that are blank.
Come on.
This is the thing.
It's
See
like
if you
some.
can see it. See if you can. What can you do?
Nothing.
Do you have a spell that like lets you see things, reveals things?
I do not.
Talk to it.
Okay, sure.
Oh yeah, sing to it or something.
Sure. I'll sing to a book, Matt.
Book is inspired.
Read to me of times gone by. Can it be You were here when a bunch of gods died. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay. Doesn't seem to have any effect. Doesn't seem to respond to the singing.
Don't tell anyone I sang to a book.
I won't. You just keep saying I'm just taking books. We've got just
Yes.
not enough time.
It takes you about a minute of just throw them all in there.
25
haphazardly.
books.
25 books.
Let's get back.
Fuck. All right.
Do
Let's
it.
go.
It'll leave
All
us
right.
4 minutes.
All right, you guys dart back. You get low enough to the point where you're in between the two bookcases. The heights vary, and in some cases you're having to like suddenly shift up and over to avoid slamming into the side of a large bookcase. So you're just shooting through this kind of. It's almost like an up and down version of the Star Wars entry to the Death Star. Thank you. It's not working.
My locate object never pinged. My incantation of isolation locate object.
Interestingly enough, thank you for reminding me of that. As soon as he pulled the book out, the one that he's holding, the one with no text on it, it pinged.
Oh shit! I just grabbed a bunch of books, but that's the one.
Are you sure?
I mean, it's gotta be. And shoot. Keep looking at it while we're flying and see if
Okay.
you can figure it out.
Hold it upside down.
Hold on to me though, because you're going pretty
Listen
fast.
to. I'm gonna listen to it.
Okay. Make an Arcana check.
13 plus 5, 18.
18. Okay. As you're like starting by, you're like clutching her side and kind of with your hand around her waist, kind of reading through it, and like you almost lose it a couple times.
Plus jack of all trades.
Plus, what's total?
So 21.
21. You get the sense that there is something magical about it. I would say you can't put your finger on it, but it's like there's what faint arcane essence that you can kind of sense just from your usage of spells and the feeling of releasing spells, like the charging and release of arcane energy. You get the sense of that release a little bit from the book, like it's almost wanting something. It's pulling something very faintly.
Tease it.
What spell? I don't want to hurt it.
Threaten it.
Place the myth carver on it. Place myth carver on it.
Okay. I'll place Myth Carver on it, and I don't know what to cast on a book.
Make a dexterity saving throw.
I'll cast Friends on it.
God, that was almost so bad.
Cast friends on it?
Sure.
Okay. As you kind of release the cantrip, the book seems to... It absorbs the magic, but no reaction.
28.
28. As you dart around the corner, one of the shifting bookcases comes right in front of you, and you just out of the way in time. Scanlan, you barely hold on. I need you to roll a strength check.
Oh, Jesus.
God.
I'm gonna
Can I hold
die.
on to his wrist? Help out?
Not good. Strength?
It's like a mom.
Saving
that mom,
or...
you know,
This would be a strength saving throw, yeah.
this sort of
10.
10? You just barely... The book's like... And you catch it
Jesus.
right as it falls, and you hold it in your hand.
What if you write in it?
What if you write in it and say, "Hey, I need the incantation of isolation."
What if it like talks
Right
back?
in the book?
Didn't you ever watch Harry Potter? You wrote the book
No,
and it
I
talked
never
back.
watched Harry Potter.
Jesus, write in
We'll
the
talk about that later.
Who are you? I've never read it. I've never
Do
read
you have
it.
a quill? Can you write in it? Can you write something?
I
in the book?
must have a
got a
quill,
quill.
right? I'm
Storyteller.
a storyteller,
You
right?
have to pull it out of your pouch, yeah.
Okay, I'll pull out my quill.
And your inkwell?
Jesus, while we're flying? This seems like it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
You wanna try it?
No! How about when we land?
Did
Alright.
you cast friends on it? Did it work?
No,
No.
it absorbed the spell and seemed to like it, but nothing happened.
What else can you do to imbue it with magic?
Ion stone.
I have the Ion Stone, but it doesn't do
Alright.
anything.
As you're rushing to make another dexterity saving throw.
Oh, jeebus. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. 24, 25, 27 again.
Whoosh, you just yank out of the way of another one that seems to shift. It's one that goes from ceiling to floor. It's one solid bookcase that just comes right in the way. You manage to dart around the side, make another strength saving throw to hold on to the book.
Oh, that's
Yo.
better. That's 17.
17, okay.
What could you cast on it? Like, it seems
So yeah, the book you hold on to with one hand and you pull it back and the pages kind of flap a
I'll
little
try
bit in the
to
wind.
cast a more powerful spell into it without hurting it,
Yeah,
though.
don't
That's
do
the
a
thing.
destructive
If I do
spell.
like lightning, what if it burns the fucking
yeah, don't
book?
Do that.
sucked it in.
I'll do Thunder Wave on it, right?
Thunderwave, the first
Oh, no,
level spell?
No.
Shoots
yeah,
things
that
out.
shoots things out. Don't you have like suggestion or
Crazy laughter. or
Yeah,
something?
I'll dominate monster. That's a super high level spell.
What level spell is that?
8.
8th level spell, dominate
Yeah.
monster in the book. Okay.
Yeah.
So as you're flying through, you cast the spell into the book, and the book, it takes the entirety of the spell into it, and you watch as suddenly text emboldened across all of the pages on the inside. The book is now filled with scribblings and writing.
What language is it? What language is it?
I don't know. What language is it?
It appears to be common to you.
It's a notebook. It's somebody was figuring this out as they were writing it.
You glance over your shoulder and it's empty.
Are you sure something's there? Because I
Yes,
think you might be
I
crazy.
have a beautiful mind.
Where you arc down into the center of the library where you see the large dome where you first met Ioun. You're not sure how much time you have left, but it's down to the wire.
Go, go.
Do I see any words that say isolation or incantation or anything?
It's only like it's a small book.
Yeah.
It's a small
pages.
book.
I like to read things and really
Oh
understand.
my God!
The script on the cover does. It's a little. It seems in a weird way. The best I could say is a Google Translate version, but it loosely translates to the Tome of Isolation. Yes.
Oh, it's like the whole thing.
It's a cookbook.
You just asked for the tome, right? You got it.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good.
Okay.
Alone, I am Tome.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
She disappeared. Where is she?
Well, she's gonna reappear. She's obviously
Maybe.
like she knows we're here.
Let's go down to her bowl.
Yeah, we're at the bowl.
All right, so let's go down into the bowl and
All right.
wait for her to
All right,
arrive.
so you guys land in the center there.
Yeah.
What's everybody else doing right now?
I barrel rolled out of the way as they rushed by.
I was
and
sitting on the
landed next
couch.
to them.
I've been digging through the pillows.
Okay.
Been
Looking
reading
for
them.
change in the couch.
Did you know that heck nah could rhyme with Vecna? Did you hear what I
I heard when you yelled it.
Oh, good. Just trying to help.
It was the nekma that I couldn't come up with a
What if you're
way.
speaking to your mother?
Sure.
Let's say,
Yeah.
and you're pointing at your neck.
You're
Yeah.
such a pain in the neck.
Exact. Pain in the neck, ma.
Pretty good.
Looking for Vecna. He's pain in the neck, ma. Fight him. I say, heck nah.
I wish you would have been chosen by Ioun.
As soon as that happens, the wind picks up. And for a moment, you kind of close your eyes from the sudden burst of air into your face. And as you kind of reopen and adjust, there in the center of the dome where she was before, you see the knowing mistress. There, resting, her arms kind of crossed in front of her robes. And she looks out. So, are you to present your findings?
I just casually blow the hair out of my face and walk over to her and say, "Oh, mighty goddess, it was a challenging challenge, but I think you'll be pretty happy with the results." And as I hold up the book, I'll cast Wrist Pocket and make it disappear. Oh God! Oh, it's gone! Just kidding. And it's back.
She doesn't flinch.
This is what we found for you. I hope it pleases you.
And this is your final choice.
You know, we didn't actually look at the other 10 books.
We just filled in the
Just
answer.
go.
Is that your final answer?
Yes. With conviction, I firmly believe that this is the correct book.
Very well. She takes it and looks at it. It has been a while since I thumbed through these pages myself. This will do you well in the coming fray. And she hands it out to you.
Oh my God!
Can I still see the writing?
Yeah.
Or is it- okay. I'll cherish it always.
So, you who have wandered the vast library that surrounds you, through your knowledge, through your magnetic telling and spinning of yarns, through your knowledge of history, perseverance, and apparently decent grip, have managed to return to me and complete the challenge I set before you. And for that, I grant my grace unto you for the coming fray. Scanlan Shorthold. And it's a little off-putting at first, but in her forehead, where you saw, her two kind of purple eyes, a third eye opens up in the center of the forehead, and it seems to glow for a second, and you watch as on Scanlan, this kind of warmth fills your body, and you stand up straight instinctually, and you guys watch as a strange purple glow appears in the center of his forehead, in the same place where her eye was.
Oh, you have a third eye.
Is it cool or is it gross?
That's cool.
It's cool.
It's cool.
It's pretty
Cool?
cool. It's cool.
Chicks will dig?
Yep.
Well,
Third nip, third ride. You're good.
It gently fades
Oh,
away.
yes.
The warmth vanishes, and you're restored to yourself. So, that given the case,
Yeah, buddy!
you have the Tome of Isolation
Oh my god.
and the
You get your
Blessing of the Knowing
Oh,
Mistress.
oh wow.
you
oh, wow.
choose.
That is the cup of a carpenter. Okay, I gain +2 to my intelligence. Whoa.
Just all the timesies?
As a bonus action, I can channel the Omniscience of Ioun. For 1 hour, whenever you successfully hit a creature with a spell or attack, you can learn one of the creature's stats of your choice from the following list. AC, senses, saving throw bonuses, damage resistances, damage immunities, damage vulnerabilities. During this hour, you also have advantage on initiative rolls and on saving throws. Once this ability is used, it cannot be used again.
You can learn what
For like
you're
a week.
vulnerable to.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
how many
Great.
how many things can you learn about?
Just one.
You pick
We
one.
can learn what
That's
his
like-
vulnerabilities are.
That's like a game mod
Anytime
for
you
your
hit a
character.
creature, you can learn one thing. Anytime
That's
you
the
hit
gold
them, as a-
thing
as a
that
bonus.
came with the
Every time
original
you hit one.
Nintendo Entertainment
Yeah,
System.
yeah, he's
Game
hacking the
Genie.
game code,
For an
right?
hour.
I suddenly remembered my Charlemagne. Let my armies be the rocks and the trees and the birds in the sky.
The pen is mightier.
The tome is, as an action, I can expend a spell slot of any level higher than 3. Thank you, Travis. The cover and the internal pages glow in hidden text of the rites of prime banishment. While legible, you can spend an action to invoke the rites of banishment against the target. The target must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failure, the target is banished and sealed. And this book is immediately teleported to the endless Atheneum. On success, the text becomes blurred until the end of your next turn.
On success.
On success. On a failure of their saving throw. Right? Wait.
Yeah, so if they succeed on their saving throw, they resist the ability, and you cannot read the book for another turn.
Got it. But then after that turn, I can read it
You
again?
can attempt it
What does
again.
it say the DC is?
DC 10. A
What?
wisdom saving.
Slow.
Oh.
Plus 5.
That's key info.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
+5 to DC for each divine trammel fused to the target.
+5 to
We
DC.
gotta be
Gotta
matadors
get some
and attach a
trammels.
bunch
Yep.
of pegs
Yep.
to the thing
Yep.
before we deliver the killing
We
blow.
literally stick the trammels onto Vecna.
Picadors. We'll be picadors, right?
Those,
They put the darts on the back of the bowl,
Yeah, those,
soften
like,
it up,
The shards.
and then killing blow.
And do we have any of these yet?
I have one. Wait,
You
I
don't
have
have
a
any
no. I
trammels.
have a
You don't-
stone.
We have one
You
stone.
have a stone that supposedly has something to do with their construction.
But we were supposed to ask Ioun.
Yeah, I'm gonna right
Okay.
now.
No, I
Yeah.
think we're done here, guys.
We'll just go to Home Depot and get some trams.
Can I pull out the little
I think they had some on
the
the
little
websites that they were
Prolo
in.
power?
All right, you pull it out, and there it glows before
It
you.
was in my pocket. Hold on.
There you go.
There it is.
It's bright like a tiny star for a second, and you kind of have to avert your gaze. But there it is, still warm to the touch, a small pearl of bright divine light. So, with this blessing, I hope to be of some aid in the coming battle. Also, any questions you may have, I'm here to answer.
Yes, so many.
How do we make a trammel? We have a stone, and we want more. I assume.
The prime trammel you speak of, the companion to this rite of which you've sought out and recovered. The construct is small, but complex, and the design is unknowable for most mortal eyes. Each trammel requires a fragment of divinity. You have one there. That fragment is lost until the seal is broken. So it is a very exhausting process for a deity to give this fragment. Now, the original trammels that we had utilized were forged by the hand of the Allhammer atop the fiery core anvil deep beneath the Osmid Sea.
Wait, what? Core?
The core anvil.
The core.
In the Osmid Sea.
Handler.
Beneath the Osmid Sea.
Core.
To seal a god,
The number of trammels you would require depends on how marred the god may be. You have an easier chance of applying the trammels the more wounded the entity is.
That's good.
It is imperfect, and it's only been given use the once against the Chained Oblivion. And with the Luckbringer's blessing, we succeeded against the entity. It took us 4 trammels, and the full might of Pelor upon the beast to banish it beyond the veil. However, the Chained Oblivion's power was fully realized at this time. Now, the Corandel. This was part of the domain of the Allhammer's greatest creations. It was where the first dwarves were given form and breath. It's where the trammels were carved and made in the last great war. It lies beneath the undersea volcano, now known as Skald Seat.
Scald seat?
Skald Seat. It sits at the bottom of the ocean, off the eastern coast of Isira, not far from the fishing village known as Shorecombe. At which point, the third eye flashes in the direction of Keyleth. And Keyleth, a vision fills your mind suddenly of the shoreline over Isira. The cold, cloud-covered sky, but you see below grass and recent rainfall-covered fields that lead to a somewhat marshy and mud-covered shoreline. And there you see a small fishing village leading out to a very rocky beachfront and waves that seem to crest and break against drop-off into the ocean. You can see some low-built docks that lead all the fishermen in and out into the ocean, and the vision pulls you back what appears to be miles away from that, and you get a sense as you see this small column of black smoke that just emerges from the ocean across endless open sea. That is the signal of where this volcano lies.
The middle of nowhere.
Well, kind of.
The vision fades from you. She leans to you and says, "Find a way below, through the tunnels of toxic fume, unbreathable, without proper preparation, to the core anvil, and forge these trammels. Be warned, there may be protections that still remain within the forgotten halls of the Allhammer, or new denizens that occupy the subterranean depths. Now, to forge such a trammel, however, is an undertaking no mortal has attempted. To shape the materials would require the strength of a Titan." And she looks towards you, and the eye flashes, and suddenly your mind fills with hundreds of years of the knowledge of folding heated metals, of the clings of lives past, shaping and building weapons and armor. And for a second you pull back and you can see the large dwarf-like stone form of the Allhammer slamming down onto the heated metals of the core anvil.
That's Queen.
As the vision fades, you know how to forge. So you are not proficient with blacksmithing tools.
Proficient with blacksmithing tools?
Yes, you are.
Oh my god, you are a bootmaker now.
in my room now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Weapon maker.
And suddenly you understand most of the tools in Percy's workshop.
That water's not so evil after all. Wait a minute.
Oh shit.
But not just the strength of a Titan. For to understand the intricacies of its design, you also require the ingenuity of a madman. And she turns towards you, Percy.
Yeah, don't look at somebody else, motherfucker. That's you.
To look away. Kid in the back of the classroom.
Percy takes one step behind Keel.
That farts in class that looks at the guy behind him.
Yeah.
The third eye opens once more and flashes. You see the purple glow in the center of Percival's forehead for a moment, and in an instant, the intricate designs of the Prime Tremel flood into your mind, the celestial instructions racing through like a shock of electricity, the blueprints spinning like a clear dream, straight out of Flight of the Navigator. It's just all the star charts being crammed at once.
Right.
And with that, it drops from your mind and you fall to your knees with a pounding headache.
I'm not supposed to know that.
And you will only know it for as long as it's required. So,
she thinks for a second.
We, the creators, did breathe the beauty into this world. We planted the seeds that would blossom into this incredible weave of Exandria. However, what is the purpose of the parent but to teach what they can, then set their children free? Some gods rule through fear, others through love, and others still through perceived fate. Destiny has its place, but the real deception is that you have no choice. A path can be groomed before you, but it is you who must take those steps. And not every rosy walkway leads to a better day. For me, our greatest purpose has passed. The moment we granted your forebears the spark to seek their own purpose. We now stay to inspire, to guide, to guard the gate, to keep the hate of ignorance we spawned in our hubris from burning away everything. The rest is up to you. We need you, perhaps, but you do not need us. That is our gift. You, fate touched. You are the embodiment of this truth. All mortal life has potential, with or without the gods. We offer some paths, but it's up to you to decide if they are the right ones for you. Anyway, and she kind of clutches her stomach a moment. What more do you ask of me? What more do you wish to know? Do you
I have questions.
Yes, ask.
Vecna. You're familiar. You know not where he is, but you know of him.
I know of as much of his history as I was allowed to see, yes. Vecna was a force of insurmountable intellect among mortals, and his creative bending of known arcane theory enabled many of the powerful artifacts of war that stoked the flames of the calamity a century later. His contributions were appreciated but overlooked by those around him, and in his hubris he sought to carve history in his image. He sought forgotten magics, and slew those who shared this same knowledge, to leave only him standing with it. He bypassed his own mortality through terrible necromantic rites to lichdom, amassing a force of like-minded followers and hordes of undead terrors, then vanished into the Shadowfell to overtake the dark city of Tharim-Fala, where he erected the terrible tower in Tropis. From this very seat of power, Vecna harnessed an event called the Celestial Solstice. He used this merging of ley energies and power to reforge manses of energy all across Exandria to suit his needs. opening portals at his whim within his city to anywhere across the world, allowing his armies to lay siege to anything before him and extend his influence and rule. His horde assaulted a couple of prominent townships, slaughtering denizens and forcing old enemies to kneel before slaying and raising them as his own. One such rival was named Kaz, who upon their defeat was offered eternal life through vampirism in exchange for swearing fealty to Vecna as his chief lieutenant. This made Kaz into Kaz the Bloody-Handed. Vecna forged a relic blade for him with a fraction of his consciousness and gifted it to his new lieutenant. And with this, the Lich Lord had become a new terror among the rising tensions of the bickering nations. Months of turmoil followed as the shadow of Vecna's unstoppable forces struck with precision, and those fled before retaliation. However, the use of the solstice was discovered and reverse engineered, allowing the Holy Army, titled the Beacon of Arms, to storm his city under the banner of the Dawnfather, led by the champion Yosvarda. Climbing Entropis to face the Lich Lord in combat, Yosvarda was struck down by the Undying King with a mortal blow. In the final moments of the hero's life, he witnessed the Lieutenant Kaz turn on his winded master and strike him with the very blade he was gifted, driven to usurp him to become his own new lord. The ensuing conflict left Kaz nothing but ash, and utterly destroyed Vecna's body, leaving nothing but his left eye and hand. Yoz passed on to the realm of Pelor due to his wounds, and the survivors left the Shadowfell with tales of victory. The terrible artifacts, the eye, the hand, the sword, were never recovered. Now the sword is bent on vengeance, on hatred for the Whispered One. A powerful evil drives that sword, but for a just end. Should one be able to find and tame such a thing, it may be of great use. That is all I have to offer on the history of Vecna, and I hope it can be of aid to you in your coming battle.
What was the name of the sword again?
Yeah.
The Sword of Kaz.
The Sword of Chaos. Okay.
Does it have a name? I mean,
And where was it last seen?
was it away?
In Tharampala, at the scene of the battle.
Oh. Okay. The Sword of Kaz.
You don't think?
I don't think.
I don't think.
No.
What are the odds, right?
It was
well,
800 years ago.
I mean,
No.
you know.
Different sword.
Different sword.
Not Craven Edge.
No.
I have another question for you.
Yes,
You know who I serve.
I do. I see the shadows that cling to you.
Vecna seeks godhood. And we understand that my lady achieved the same. Did you learn anything from her path that would help us here?
You watch as suddenly her expression changes. Her mouth kind of falls open ever so gently. And her hair, wavy and calm, seems to curl in but a moment and lift. Her expression falls to one of trepidation and horror. And then there was one more.
Oh.
The ritual is complete.
can sense his ascension. The cosmos expand to make room. Our time temple accelerates. You can see now our eyes begin to race back and forth. It will take him some time to understand and utilize his nature fully. If he expands beyond his avatar, it will be more difficult to seal him. The more trammels it may require, and the loss may be far greater.
Do you have a seat of power?
Understand. And she kind of leans forward to you. I am not Ioun given full form, but a partial avatar of my essence given shape by the worship of my children, as was the Dawn Father that who guided you here. Our realms are our bodies, and our true presence held in the hearts of those who grant us their faith. To hold purely as an avatar like this is dangerous, for while it focuses and grants us much present power, as we were forced to do in the calamity in the last great war, it may also leave us open to grievous injury. And she opens her robe, and there you can see amongst the kind of olive gold skin, you see a large darkened gash that still festers unhealed to this day, of black curling void. And as you look at this open wound, you feel yourself drawn toward it, like your vision begins to be pulled towards this infinite nothing, and she closes it. You can see a bit of sweat dripping from the brow. The cost was great, but necessary. Vecna's ascended being is fresh. He will need to expand his worship vastly to learn how to disseminate his power and claim his domains. What he will need for this to happen is a display of unstoppable power, a miracle of terror, a wave of despair that would occupy the hearts of many in but a moment. I know not his method, but I know enough of his ways to assume there's already a plan in motion, and has been for some time. If you can strike before he claims this full ascension, before he can seize his dominion on this plane, then you may still have a chance. She turns to you, Scanlan. You are the teller of tales. One who enlivens the world through song and word. Take this fragment of my own story and help craft the passages of the world's future. She reaches into the center of her robe and seems to be almost into her chest, and plugs forth a small gray gem about the size of a peanut. It glows faintly, and as she removes it, you hear a terrible creaking sound throughout the library. You watch as books plummet from the darkness above and slam into the ground around you. Distant cases crack and bow. The roar of the damaged space echoes to a halt, the danger seemingly in control. There. I can spare no more. I must rest and concentrate.
Excuse me? I have something of you inside of me. Would it help you?
She smiles. I could use a steward for a moment. Someone eager to learn and relearn some important lessons. A thread broken branch.
It's me.
Would you be so kind as to help an old woman tend to her books a bit?
It would be my pleasure. I didn't believe in you. I didn't think you were real. But I found out that things aren't what we seem. And things can change. It would be my honor. Could I say goodbye?
Of course.
Also, do you know where there's an imp by the name of Demistrick, and if he's all right?
He's fine for now.
I'm not asking for me. the nice lady with the antlers wanted to know.
He's fine, but woe to those who live in the home in Craghammer where he's currently rooted.
He's a very bad performer. I'll be right with you.
Of course.
Well then, this is different. I don't think I'm going to be alone anymore.
No.
I asked you for power, but it seems like you gave me strength.
Oh. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you. And you called me darling. No one ever did that before. Oh.
I kiss him on the forehead.
Oh, dear me. Oh, goodness gracious. Be happy. Life. Life is loud and noisy. And it's a celebration, and I didn't know that. So once in a while, with what little time we have, be happy. I was wrong about you, you know?
Me?
Oh, you're far greater than I will ever be. If only I could be a mirror of you.
Thank you, Sprigg, for everything. We've only known you a short time, but I feel
I'm
like
only a short person. You can have that one for free.
I will.
Okay,
use
good.
that.
Go on with it, yeah.
No. You've taught us much in a short time, and I'm sorry that we broke your house, but it seems like you've found a suitable replacement.
Yeah, a lot of books in here. That's going to keep me busy. And you, secrets. Celebrate it with your friends. Remember that. And when I look at these books, I'm going to think of you.
That pleases me.
Oh, good.
Be happy here.
I think you're going to be the hardest to say goodbye to. Because you cared. No one ever cared before. That's why they called me Sprigg. I wasn't good enough to be a broken branch. I was just a Sprigg. That's how I got my name.
If only people knew that sprigs give foundation to the entire tree.
Thank you. 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 Thank you.
She extends her hand to you.
Well, this is new.
And should your friends succeed, there is far much more to look forward to learning.
Excellent. But some of those little wispy things, I don't trust them, you know. If they get out of order, we should wispy thing grab. How will we remember that?
This is going to be a very good conversation to have.
We need a mnemonic device. Come, we'll think of one.
Very well, we shall. After the rest of you, I fear my power has waned, and I don't have the means of sending you away myself. But if you are able to return under your own power,
Can we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
then I wish you all the greatest of luck. And please, don't be a stranger.
Oh! I have your books.
Oh, yes. 24 of them.
I think they were like, really secret ones, so I would hate to,
Kind of
take
curls her
those
finger,
out of
and you watch as 3 spectral servants kind of apparate behind you and pick up the books and begin to take them back to be organized.
Not to worry. Travel safe, my friends. And Scanlin, don't ever forget how important you are. To them, to Kaylee, and to yourself. You owe yourself far more than you lend.
I will remember.
Goodbye.
Bye, Sprigg.
Take care, darling.
Bye, Sprigg.
Read well.
Until next time.
That's good. Off we go then.
Come, Methrid. And she takes his hand and stands up, and they both begin to walk away. And as it does, there's a slight increase of light in the room as a flash. And then as it slowly comes back to a normal sight, you find yourself back at the entrance, almost bathhouse-like area of the domain where you arrived. The marble slightly more cracked than you left it before, but still standing.
Enjoy the other side, Sprigg.
I go up to Percy. Are you all right, dear?
Strangely, yes. Yes, quite. Didn't think I would be.
Vax. Is that what's gonna happen when you leave?
I don't know.
Shall we?
Where are we going?
Back to where we came from.
Like in the beginning, or like more recently?
Back to the
or-
cabin.
Okay.
Cabin.
The little house.
You mean Sprigg's cabin?
Sprigg's cabin.
Why would we go there?
So we still have a man tied up in the... He's been sitting there for probably about an hour or two.
Who?
Oh, yeah, the guy that you put in the shackles.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure, he's
the things.
fine. Let's just go to Whitestone.
Well, we want to get the shackles back.
Oh, it's the shackles.
Well, I want to talk to him too, but
We're
yes.
going for the shackles. All right.
They're pretty cool.
They are pretty impressive.
Yeah, just like totally take somebody out of the
But
boat.
she said we have the timetable is shortened.
We need to
You
have
don't
it.
need
Why are
the
we going to
shackles.
Whitestone then?
We have to find this place in the middle of the ocean.
Well, now that we know where it is, you can probably just bamf us there, can't you?
I need to go to Whitestone or to Vasselheim.
Before we go to Asilra. Wait,
She can't bamf us there. There's no
is
trees.
Vasselheim
Vasselheim
on
is, yeah, it's on the continent of
Asilra?
Asilra. Yeah.
How close did I recognize the shore?
Shorecombe?
Cove
Shorecombe's
to-
about, let's say about 250 miles away from Vasselheim to the southwest.
Southwest going towards Pyra.
Yes,
But
past,
south-
beyond Pyra, like along the coast.
Okay.
So we can...
Start there. I should be able to just tree straight us right there, right?
From the cabin to Vasselheim?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah?
You didn't see none of the particular trees you got a close look at. You may have to scry to get a specific tree in mind for the spell, but you can do that.
Pike, you seem very quiet.
Pike goes, I'm sorry, I'm just overwhelmed. There's a lot going on.
I know, when I feel overwhelmed, I like to punch things. You want to hit me?
Okay.
Oh, too strong. Oh, such a monster.
Sorry, and she cures wounds on you.
Thank you.
I burn my 8th level spell to plane shift us back to Sprigg's house.
All right, as you all gather hands together, with a familiar flash and a pull through the divine gate, you all find yourselves thrust once more back to the prime material plane as your feet land squarely in the partially charred, wooded remains of Sprigg's house, deep in a ravine in the Cliffkeep Mountains of Taldore in Exandria. And that's where we're going to take a break.
Wow.
Fudge knuckles.
Wow. Wow,
Darren,
Darren.
What?
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Oh, Darren.
Man, you are so good. Masterclass.
Oh, man.
What?
Thank you for coming.
Had to happen. It's history. It's a journey.
I love it. I love it.
35 years?
37.
37.
Years.
It's crazy. I love it.
And who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
In another
something will happen. Yeah, another 37 years.
There we go.
We'll do this again.
Hopefully sooner, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Darren, for joining
Thank you
us.
guys. Thank you guys.
It was a pleasure. We know you just came on this show so you could get onto talks. but we'll take it anyway.
Yeah, you could have just asked if you wanted to meet Brian Foster.
His
We
hair
would've
is
just
so
introduced
cool.
you.
He's got a good beard.
He does.
Good beard.
All right, guys. So before we go, we have a giveaway during the break, in which we're giving out this awesome. Oh God! This awesome pieces of pieces. This is the Purple Heart Dice Tower from
that's
Wormwood.
mine.
Yep, the same color that you use for your to assemble your awesome magnetic dice tower from Wormwood. What was the word we chose? Thank you, knowledge. The word in the chat room is knowledge.
I thought you said college.
I did too.
Go to college, kids. But yeah, so come over to the Twitch chat, and when prompted, go ahead and enter the word knowledge to enter the giveaway, and we'll have the announcement of who won that when we come back from the break. See you guys in a few minutes.
Brilliant.
It's Comic-Con Decompression and Recovery Week, so we've got a ton of fantastic programming for you to check out over at Nerdist, Geek and Sundry, and Alpha. Let's cure that FOMO! This week's Short Ends features some incredible documentaries about a neo-pagan wizard, a DIY punk circus ringmaster, and a strawberry-obsessed mother. If that's not enough, you'll also be able to see goats wearing unicorn horns. Hop aboard the USS Nitpicker as Kyle Hill and AI head to Krypton, the home planet of Superman, where they learn about advanced cloning technology, storing information in crystals, and harnessing the power of the sun. Cool. Nerdist also has a sneak peek at the upcoming Han Solo film from director Ron Howard. It's a totally real clip and definitely not a joke. Check it out and see for yourself. And the latest episode of Sagas of Sundry Dread is here. The tension is rising as the tower teeters and grows. Will terrible things happen to your favorite character? Absolutely. And if you are loving the show so much you just want to wear it on your body, now you can. The first ever Dread t-shirt is here, and it's so cool and spooky. Pick it up over at the GNS and Alpha stores. Now you may know the fantastic Eliza Pearl from her role as Lieutenant Commander Talon on Geek and Sundry's Shield of Tomorrow, but if you don't, you can learn all about Eliza and her favorite things like nerdy improv theater, Christopher Pike's The Starlight Crystal, and J. Richard Gott's Time Travel in Einstein's Universe on this week's Signal Boost. And get ready, Vast fans, because part 1 of the Season 2 finale is here. The crews of both the Peacekeep and the Brightest Eye are coming together for the unification along with Amy Vorpal and Erika Ishii. You know what that means. Things are about to get crazy. You can check out part 1 on Alpha now and part 2 on July 31st. And if you've just returned from Comic-Con or were watching from afar, why don't you tell us your favorite moment from the con in the Alpha forums? And you'll have a chance to win an awesome pack of Marvel Dorbs. The collection includes a Captain America, Spider-Man, Black Widow, and Iron Man Dorbs, plus a copy of the book, Unauthorized Captain America vs. Iron Man, Freedom, Security, Psychology. We can't wait to hear your stories. Thank you to those of you who visited Carnival at San Diego Comic-Con, and as always, thank you for hanging out with us at Nerdist, Geek and Sundry, and Alpha. Love you, bye.
We've been chewing gum together since kindergarten, and now we just kick ass. From American High to maybe LSU, when we come to your town, we bring a lot of class. Now we're solving crimes for the government, and the chief tells us what to do. Just defending Brittany, freedom, and bliss. You better hope we don't come after you. We're Dick and Johnson, Dick and Johnson, hell yeah!
Dick Johnson, your country needs you.
Yeah, we know,
Yeah,
Chief.
man, we just sang a whole song about
That's
it.
why we're here. Let's get at it.
Yeah, come on, please.
Let's get to it.
What do you want?
What do you want?
To tell me where to go.
This is like our kitchen area, stage 2 over there.
Why are you giving us a tour? We're here all the freaking time.
Signal Boost audience doesn't know that. Just go with it. Those are the ghosts. Don't open that. Over here we have like our lounge area.
I know, I sit in it all the time.
This is the writer's closet.
I know.
This is where all the old
This is where all the old Signal Boost writers go when Marisha's done. I know. You've been saying that for 2 weeks. Oh God.
The Hollows is a series of 13 books by Kim Harrison. At least, I think it's 13 so far. I don't know for sure because I haven't read the last book yet. But my super awesome, nerdtastic friend, Becky Dodd, who was actually my voice agent at the time, which is totally weird, sent me this book, Dead Witch Walking, which is the first in the series, as an out-of-the-blue present because she's amazing, and I've been hooked ever since. They kind of remind me of the Sookie Stackhouse novels, except with cooler characters and a little less sex. But there's still a little sex. Oh, and the most important ingredient in Make Laura Bailey Love a Book Stew is pixies. Yeah, that's right, there are pixies. You hear that, Marisha? There are pixies.
Those pixies!
The books take place in a modern-day alternate universe where, due to a genetically modified batch of tomato plants gone horribly wrong, about a third of the world's population gets wiped out, and suddenly all of the supernatural creatures who have had to live in hiding for fear of what mankind will do to them realize that their populations are now just about even. So they reveal their presence to the world. But here's the kicker. That's not the story. That's the backstory. All of that stuff happened in like the 1960s. So in the present day, where our story takes place, the presence of supernatural creatures is kind of normal. The story follows Rachel Morgan, who is a witch who works as a detective for, well, like, sort of as a detective for, like, the supernatural police. It'll all make sense when you read it. She's buff as fuck, and she can do magic, and it's so tight, and she actually inspired me to get into shape a few years ago. And also to learn magic. See? I can turn myself into a cute animal.
Oh look, I'm a quokka. I'm so cute. I smile all the time. Take a selfie with me, but don't because I'll probably bite you.
And over here is actually where we keep our stash of animated quokkas.
How would I never realize we have a stash of quokkas?
I know. You should totally take one home with you. They're adorable.
No, we are not bringing any more home.
Oh my god, they're so cute.
Oh, I'm gonna name you Benjamin, and you're Bartholomew, and you're Sebastian.
No more. Look, can we please just...
Your love is the loveliest love.
Can we please take him home and name him Chalupa?
You know, you could seek help with the very first of the writers.
Moplisha. Why did I just say that?
A lovely little game is Child of Light. It's not too old, so don't you fight. Still do I think of it all of the time, thankful to the minds from whence it did climb. Ubisoft Montreal, the smarties with the arts. 'Twas also them that birthed Valiant Hearts. Another gorgeous game that earned its critical acclaim. A beautiful fairy tale in this tome of Princess Aurora trying to get home after she strangely awakes in Lemuria, a fantastical world of magic and mysteria. Still not sold? Then listen to this. Let's just sit back and reminisce. Turn-based combat. That's nostalgia, fools. Like Chrono Trigger. It's the rules that you wait your turn to use your tools to Snickers stack those freaky ghouls. It's a world of fantasy. Its setting is ethereal. The soundtrack is both magical and imperial. And a cast of characters colorful and unique, but crazy for me, the people don't speak. Yeah, I know, it's weird. But I would do the voices for them as I'd play the game, so I'd make Princess Aurora sound like,
oh, I'm so small and lonely, but also very beautiful.
It's strange for me to endorse a game that does not financially reinforce a lifetime of making my voice oh so hoarse. But the writing beguiles, the story is sublime, the characters bring smiles, and all the words rhyme. That's right, heroic couplets and lyrical stanzas tell the tale of doublets and magical extravaganzas. In this game, I am so immersed that I now speak in verse, forever cursed. unable to stop my husband driven mad, but damn, this game is it's really fucking rad. On every console will the game come through, even on Vita, Windows, and Wii U. Okay. We can bring Jalippa home if we can also bring home an animated hippo.
We have no more room for another animated hippo. Besides, the pool is already housing the baby narwhal.
Yeah, and you leave Hercules Mulligan alone. He is a rescue.
Apologize to Jalippa.
Flea markets are amazing! That's right. And specifically, if you're like me and you don't like spending tons of cash on really unique things, that's where flea markets come in. Amazing 1920s decanter that would have cost a fortune at an antique shop? I can get it to you for $30. How about $50 for a super cool end table that'll make everyone think you're oh so eclectic? I'm not, but you think I am because of that end table. Here's some cool tips from me, your super cool host. Tip 1, take your time. No. Tip 1, time your trip. The early bird may get the worm, but the tardy harpy gets the deals. There's better selection in the morning, but if you go towards the end of the day, you'll get better bargains because most of the vendors don't want to repack everything and are more willing to wiggle on the price. So you're more likely to snag some choice deals. Hey! Tip 2, bring cash. You're more likely to close on a deal if you've got cash in hand. Remember the Lord Bailey team motto, credit is human, but cash is divine. And separate your cash into different pockets. So I've got this in here, and then this in here, and you can pull it out and be like, oh no, all I have is this last $25, will you take that? But then you sneaky goose, you have another, I don't know, $22, $3 in this pocket, and you can get something else later, and then you go away from that, and you've got another, whoa, $40 in this back pocket, and you can get a piece of art, because that's my tip 3. Look for art. It's the best thing. I love to look for it. I filled my house with paintings that are gorgeous, and I didn't spend a fortune on them, and they make me smile every time I walk by them. I tend to collect portraits of really interesting people, because it creeps Travis out. Go to fleaquest.com or just do a Bing Google search for flea markets near me and find out where to go. You won't regret it. And remember what I always say, flea markets are cool, so shut up or you'll sleep on the couch. Good night, everyone.
You're a mop. This is... What is...
Happy acrobats! They're my favorite!
Look at you!
Ugh! Smells like steak chronic.
A couple things. First off, a couple of mid-show announcements. I guess we forgot to mention. One, Laura did Signal Boost, which you just saw.
Yay!
Yay!
It's a good one.
It's a good one. It's a good one. And second, if you haven't seen it already, we announced at Comic-Con that we are doing a Critical Role comic book.
Showing up.
Which we're super excited. It's written by a good friend of the show, Matt Colville. If you're not familiar with this stuff, you should. He's written a couple books. He's written a lot of video game stuff, and he's very talented.
His dialogue is to die for.
And he has
He is on this week's episode of GM.
He is actually.
You can check him out.
Yep,
Right there.
And he has a great YouTube channel. But yeah, he's a good friend of the show, and his writing's amazing. And our artist, Olivia Sampson, who is a critter artist in the community for quite some time, and we wanted to pull somebody from the community to bring the story to life of how Vox Machina came together, how they met, and then, if it goes well, continue to do the story of all the pre-stream adventures that you guys didn't get a chance to see. So that's the goal. We'll see long term. But anyway, we're happy to announce it. We'll have more information in the future as it comes out.
I've seen most of the art for issue 1.
It's booking the chip.
I haven't seen it.
Oh well.
And they say I keep secrets.
If I may,
yes,
bullshit.
Music level, split the difference.
Yeah.
Maybe a
Shame.
Little down.
split.
Alrighty.
Well, and to Emerald Star in the chat who named their puppy Grog. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Congrats on your puppy.
Is there a winner?
There is a winner. Well, the puppy named Grog. And the winner of the giveaway is Fluffy Arsonist. Fluffy Arsonist, congratulations. Denobo will contact you to get your information and get that shipped out to you. So
Aren't you mad at an arsonist when they're fluffy?
It's hard.
Nope.
Alrighty, so diving back in. So you guys are returning to Whitestone? Where are you going? You're going to Sprigg's Cabin, correct. As the surge of momentum comes to a halt and your feet once again touch the ground here within the somewhat charred remains of Sprigg's Cabin, you look about. Looks like the crickets have taken the surrounding forest. Night has fallen since your exit. What would you like to do?
Is there any threatening creatures in the vicinity?
Make a perception check.
Can I look too? Because we came.
What?
We'd been fighting. We'd been fighting when we left, so I want to make sure that.
Don't worry, it's a 14.
You glance about very quickly at the surrounding woods and trees, and aside from what looks to be a squirrel that scatters upon the sound of your footfall.
Later.
Careful of traps.
Yeah.
Leave this still in place.
Yeah, the squirrel goes.
Bear trap.
Yep.
Just slams 2 feet above it, though.
I'm going to go into the room and find the nice creature that we left there.
Okay. As you walk in amongst the rubble, you see there, still trapped within the iron cage-like manacles and bindings of the small iron ball, you see the slavering tongue of the undead entity that you had entrapped.
Oh, I don't suppose we need you anymore, do we? I'm just going to take out my sword and just very slowly end that.
Oh, God.
Yeah!
You see it like squeal out as you slowly just saw your way into its body until it lies still once more, robbing it of its second death.
Manners.
The ball retracts.
Nicely done.
While he was doing that, I just want to stealth away with my brother for a moment and just say I'm sorry about everything.
Well, how far away did you just pull me?
And far enough that nobody can hear us.
Make an investigation check.
Jesus Christ. 10. God damn it. You can hear me.
As you pull him off, you get 3 steps from the building before. A heavy
Seriously?
iron bear trap snaps onto your leg.
Outstanding.
Thank you, Matt.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
You suffer.
We're basically gods.
The words were uttered.
11 points of piercing damage, and you're currently grappled.
I deserve that.
That's karma.
I'm gonna let's get it off you. Pull it off.
Okay, between the two of you, it takes a moment, but you should peel it off, and the wounds aren't too bad.
Lay on hands. But
Oh,
you're
God.
back to normal. You're fine. Your boots ripped off. All right, watch your step. Come on, past it all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just like not move though, cause I don't want to step on another one of those fucking things.
Well, Keyleth chuckles at that a little bit. I'm gonna just look around and find a like a little piece to remember Sprigg by from his house to take with me.
Okay.
I'm going to check through the books just to see if there's anything.
And then I'll help him check through the books once I
Okay.
grab something.
Make an investigation check. Each of you.
22.
Yours is much better than mine. 5.
5. You find some like elements of partially charred pipes, some small statues that appear to have been destroyed in the recent battle. You find some unkept plants that were potted and then left to dry out. There are many things here that you could take if you want to have memory of him, but a lot of his internal.
Does this rusty bolt kind of represent Sprigg?
No.
Fuck.
I think that may have actually even come with us. I think that might have been us.
I'll regrow this plant later.
There you go.
Sprigg.
All right, so you search for through books. You pull Vax off to the side.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Yeah. First, I'm very happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I've seen it coming for a long time.
I didn't.
Well, you're smart in a lot of other ways, so. And I'm so happy. He makes you so happy, and you're in, when I go, you're in good hands. And he's in good hands. I mean, he's getting the better end of the bargain.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I didn't plan it. If I had, I would have told you. And then when I saw you, it just seemed like bad timing to say anything, and then things kept happening, and
Well, Stubby, I spent so many years standing at your side. I guess I just thought on that day I'd be standing at your side.
I know. It was very spur of the moment. Nobody was standing at our side. Except for each other.
Well, under ordinary circumstances, I would be giving you quite an earful.
I know.
But there's nothing ordinary about any of this. And I don't have time to be upset at my oldest friend. I just don't have time. So I love you. And I'm happy for you.
I don't want you to go. I love you.
You know I love you. Would you do me one favor? When I'm gone. I don't know, we could be dead tomorrow.
We could. I could die before you.
She's probably going to outlast you, but while you're around, keep her company for me.
If she ever talks to me again, I swear I will.
Well, you know what you've got going for you is that you look a lot like me, so you can remind her of me once in a while.
Good call.
Hey. It's okay. Happy for you.
Thank you.
Watch out for bear traps.
Thank you.
I'm gonna make a perception check as I walk back by myself.
Can I have a quick aside with Percy?
Yeah, you've traced your path back the same way you walked. You managed to avoid the traps easily this time, being far more aware of the surroundings. In the meantime, while you two are rummaging through the household...
We're looking at books, yeah.
Looking through books.
So, do you think we'll ever have gods in our lives?
You know,
I don't think they fancy us much. I mean, I don't really fancy them, though, so I guess that's fair. They're allowed that.
I'm not angry.
Me neither.
My books are still lovely. The library is still lovely. It made a lot of things better.
You know, I felt really guilty about it for a while, and like something was wrong with me. Like me, I don't understand why I didn't feel it, why I didn't understand, and I don't think it was until Sarah and Ray and even Ioun just now mentioned that we serve that balance and that non-believers are necessary. It made me feel like a little bit less of a fuck-up, I guess, in this whole situation.
I think you're just fine. Mostly.
Well, apparently you're a madman, so...
Apparently.
A god called you a madman?
I know.
Holy shit.
Honestly, I'm a little touched.
Yeah, it's kind of a compliment.
If it weren't for the migraine. I'm sorry, by the way. You may be the only one who understands this, but I just needed something that was mine for a little while. So little of who we are is ours. And I knew it would end. But it was nice.
Wow.
Ioun is quite a goddess, and she does not respect secrets, though, and I, on the other hand, feel that secrets can be precious.
Apparently. I just don't understand why you were still enigmatic after you already told us in front of Paylor.
I thought that,
It's kind of a slap in the face.
Well, I thought she may kill me at that point. That was honestly fearing for my life there a little bit.
Mm.
And at that point, everything was just so awkward.
I hope you know my frustration is only out of, well, what you just said, I guess. Wanting something to be mine that I won't have.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Some things you don't get to keep.
Yes, one of the bonuses of not being one of the chosen of the gods is we don't have to believe in destiny.
No, we don't.
We just, I think, heard a big speech from a god about not believing in destiny.
I followed destiny my whole life.
I know.
And it wasn't until I got to the end that I realized that the whole thing was kind of ironic.
Yeah. Why do we have to listen to anything they say?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to the faithless.
This is actually
I
a
kind
book.
of inhaled
I'm not
a little
drinking,
bit.
but I
That
don't
wasn't
know.
intentional.
That was a plant. You have been holding a plant, and I've been holding a book. That got weird.
I don't even know where we got these glasses in the story.
I think that was legitimately you were still holding a potted plant.
Oh, God. Oh, fuck. This coffee's been there for a while.
How does it feel to be chosen by a goddess at this point?
Who, me?
Yes, you. I know you've been listening.
Can we walk in at this point?
Yeah. Well, no, I'll pull Skeleton aside.
We all watch.
A moment, please.
I want to see it.
My cube.
Yeah, no, the seed, the little bean.
You want to see it?
Yeah, I want to see it.
All right.
Is it squishy?
Didn't you do this before with the other one?
Did I?
Didn't you try to like squish it or something?
That was the
not
grain
that.
of sand.
Yeah,
that
not
was
the seed of
that was
the
the soul.
pearl.
I don't know what any of you are talking about. Are you giving it to me?
Just
Nope, I got it right here.
Don't flick the bean.
What does it smell like?
Bad.
No.
What does it smell like?
Make a perception check.
It's a seed of power, Grog.
Don't fucking rob me of my discovery.
Smells like myrrh and sandalwood.
11.
Best you can make out, it smells like dusty tomes. It smells like old, forgotten papers.
It's been like in
Smells
her
like
robes
old
for like
money.
a century.
Yeah, it's been tucked in that old boob crevice. Hey, why don't you... I want you to swallow the bean.
Swallow the bean.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about Sprigg, right? I mean, his tummy was glowing like fucking Teddy Ruxpin. Like, I want to see you swallow that shit.
Sure.
Romancing the bean.
All right, I will mime swallowing the beam while I wrist pocket it.
There's a stat for
Oh,
that.
you
I'm so
crazy! I was
excited.
only kidding. You'll be stuck in a home by yourself for a
make a
1,000
sleight of hand
years.
check.
Sleight of hand check. Five.
Grog, make a perception check.
I use these every time. I don't care how low it is.
I
Come
guess
on.
it's plus 3.
Come on, remember
so,
when you
got
found
it,
the
you got
stone
it.
giants?
Well,
Oh!
plus jack of all
No,
trades.
that's a
Right.
6.
Makes it
Minus
8.
1, which is 5. That's a
So
6.
you all watch as he takes the small essence stone and kind of like whispers under his breath a small incantation, and like flicks his fingers, and then it vanishes, and he goes. It's so overt, yet you are entranced. He swallowed that thing.
I mean, I hope you know what you're doing. Do we get time with you before you leave?
I trust you 100%, Grog.
This too shall pass.
It's like Scanlan just did the trick I do with my kids all the time, which is watch. 1, 2, 3.
Where did that pencil go? I pick Scanlan up by the scruff of his neck and I hold my ear to his tummy.
Make a perception check.
Like a golden retriever.
9.
My stomach exists.
Yeah. You hear the occasional.
Oh my god, it's growing. Tell me your last rites, before you burst if it happens.
I leave all of my worldly possessions to you, Grog.
Oh shit, write that down. Somebody?
I've got it, Grog. I've got
Pick
it.
him up to listen, or are you?
Yeah, no, I'm
crouching
holding him
way
up
down?
like a seashell.
Yeah.
Shake him a bit. It'll start the reaction a bit.
Second.
Stop manhandling Scanlan.
Why?
Because he doesn't like it.
Do you not like it?
Ordinarily, yes, but not today.
Oh.
When I pass it, I'll retrieve the item.
Oh shit.
He is
Exactly.
very good with
Keeping it secret, keeping it safe.
You lost me.
I'm out.
We probably need to hurry.
This is going to be an odd request. Let's not go to Whitestone.
Why not?
I feel like we're being watched.
Maybe Vasselheim?
Oh, that's right. We never even addressed that.
Here.
Vasselheim would be.
Why didn't we ask Ioun
Why didn't you
about
just?
that?
Why'd you just kill the assassin guy that we were gonna ask?
It was an
didn't speak
undead thing. He was
English
just
anyway.
going to like make a tongue
He
of
was
us.
just blah, blah.
He wasn't really going to offer information anyway.
Who are you?
Who the fuck are you?
Pike, why are you doing that voice?
Is that the imp?
No, standing by the doorway, you see there, arms crossed, casually standing before you, Vecna. Welcome back.
Oh shit, fuck, balls.
You must have traveled quite a distance to be far from my sight.
Is he see-through? I tried to shoot an arrow at him.
Oh god.
Okay, roll for an attack.
Oh Jesus.
Cocked.
No, that's not cocked. Cacked. 29.
29. It passes through
I
his
knew
body.
it. I fucking knew it.
Kind of laughs for a second, and you see him smiling his terrible grin across curled yellowed teeth. You see that flicker of green energy sparking in his left eye. It seems to pulse as his brow arches above it.
I admire your resolve. You did it. You solved the riddle. You found my home, ruined my tower, slew one of my greatest acolytes. And even then you failed. Still, impressive. That is most definitely worthy of a fine round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
His smug clapping comes to a halt. He nods.
You're the only ones to get away. Others found me before you did. And another group of supposed heroes came and assaulted me shortly after you vanished. No matter. They all fell and rose again.
Perception check.
Yeah, insight maybe? Insight?
Insight.
See if he's lying.
Sure, inside check.
He's not lying.
Inside check. Go for it if you want to make one.
Who was it? Ask who it was. Natural 20.
Please.
Oh,
yes.
Shit.
Yes, Bex, yes.
Thanks for double check. It is like I would lie about it.
That's
Viking 20.
That's
That is
a 6. That's a 6. She's lying. She's lying.
22.
Oh, sorry. I thought you. Yeah. Yeah.
Whispers.
He forgot secrets. What do you
The
expect?
pencils are adorable.
They are
Pencils
so
are adorable. I didn't. You know what, guys? I didn't
come in
even know that this was ever a thing.
Yep.
Did
know we were making
No,
pencils? Don't
not,
you remember
this is the first time I've ever heard
early Vox Machina text thread where
We
we're like,
definitely sent them in the
We've thrown out so many cool ideas on that text thread.
We definitely
I don't know
sent them
which
in.
ones.
No, when
have
I
come
say
through.
like, hey, name your quote on the text thread,
Yeah.
and you send in a quote,
Don't
that
you
means
remember?
it's probably pretty solid.
I get
Back
asked
to the
for
game.
personal quotes
Right, back to
all
the
the time.
Consider your path one of earned existence. I would recommend you not waste such a rare lease on your arrogant lives.
I'm gonna walk right up to him while he's talking and just inspect his ugly fucking face.
You see through his beautifully adorned, like crushed velvet robes with gold trim. You see the tattered edges where gems and baubles hang around his neck. You can see the tendons and muscle that are pulled taut against the skin that is drawn against his nearly skeletal frame. He just smiles back at you, looking down from that one sickly, almost pale blue iris and that green glowing burst of energy where his other eye would be.
How's that eye socket doing, friend?
Well, these are the concerns of a mortal. My vision sees far more than it once did.
While he's rambling, can Keyleth be looking for the nearest big-ass tree?
Sure.
Kind of around. She just kind of starts glancing through the
There's
windows.
plenty of big-ass trees in your area.
Yeah, any clear path of least
Look around you,
least resistance.
Look at all
Also-
these big-ass trees.
Look at all these big-ass trees.
Also, is there anybody in the forest?
Bunch of people just crating
You
their
said no
pants.
from before.
Natural 19s was a
Yeah,
30.
there's plenty to see, and you don't see anybody else nearby in the forest.
But path of least resistance without traps.
Yeah, you see like a path you can take.
I'm not entirely certain I am mortal anymore.
I know what you are.
Yeah.
And I know you know where I am. Come to me whenever you like.
Oh, fuckstick, we are coming.
Are you all too bloody daft to see? It's over. I'm no longer the Undying King. I am the king of all kings. I am not the scourge in secret. I am the tyrant unmatched.
Are we being surrounded right now?
Yes, you're very grand. and I begin to finger fuck his eye hole in the illusion. So majestic.
As soon as your finger goes
so
forward, his
regal.
image flickers out and appears in the same room behind you. Now, right up against Percy and Scanlan.
We need to go.
I am Vecna the Unholy. I am God upon Exandria.
Hey, Vecna.
I come to play with the toys left by insolent, forgotten ancients and make this world into a new epoch. What this means, however, is an end to war. An end to borders and nations. There will only be the will of Vecna. So, ask yourself. You want peace? There is no peace the way things are. You all bicker and stab and murder in the names of your mothers, your fathers. But there's one. Everyone will live. And when they die, that need not be the end either under my banner. I can see your every move. I know your plot. I know your destination. I know your plan. Your capabilities. Your allies. And your imminent demise, should you continue. I offer you the chance to stand down. Discard your imprisoned gods and pledge to me. Many you love will, many you love already have.
I love it when they come begging for a truce. That means he's scared.
Is it more important to throw away your lives against an unstoppable god, or to return to your families and live?
I think you're right.
If you persist, I will not only destroy you, I will erase the memory of you ever existing from the mind of anyone you've ever known or cared for.
I didn't think you had that power.
You know,
Then
Plus, we don't have any
try
family.
me.
I think, you know, as generous as this offer is, we just don't enjoy associating with new money. Let's get out of here now.
Go.
Very well.
I only serve gods with big dicks.
Enjoy the forge.
A forge.
I point out the path that way. Go, 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 go.
As the portal opens and you guys go darting off the direction, you hear in the distance the.
Do you see this?
One after another, you all jump through the portal, emerging
In Vasselheim.
in Vasselheim. All of you dart out just as the dusk sun begins to hit on the distant mountains this far across the ocean.
I look around. Is there Vecna anywhere to be seen?
Nowhere.
We need sanctuary. Can you make a mansion?
Right now?
We need to rest eventually, and you need to commune.
Yeah, we gotta figure out a way
And we
to
just have to
do.
assume that we're being seen and heard at
Yeah,
all
we need
times.
some
Yeah, we need to
sunblock.
go.
I wonder if he can see us in your dimension.
Maybe not.
No,
Probably
I don't
not.
think so.
He
said
said
he
of
couldn't
Exandria.
He said he couldn't see us when we were in the library.
Where do I feel him now? Same distance,
Same
place?
distance, same place.
Let's do this quick. We
Yeah.
need to rest. You need to talk. There's much to do. And this does not feel good.
Go to Raven Queen's temple right now?
Raven Queen or the mansion?
Raven, take the mansion.
Maybe we can do the mansion outside of a temple?
Sure.
Or even inside.
I think going
Ooh, good
forward.
call.
Vasselheim doesn't take very kindly to magic stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll
it's
be
a
in
little-
her temple, so.
Aren't you
Own the
also
temple.
like kind of wanted here right now?
I will literally shoot
Should we put a
anybody who
disguise
attempts to
on
deal
him?
with him.
Maybe
Yes.
we can disguise
Give
him.
him a hat.
Okay, the first thing you guys notice as you take in your surroundings, even though dusk is happening, there seems to be a larger bustle than you're used to in Vasselheim.
Oh.
You begin to see there's a
Miracle, right?
there's a sky
Miracle,
ship at port, and a lot of the various bastions, the general bastions, the volunteer army that run across much of the city, you see them kind of darting back and forth carrying supplies. There's a kind of a buzzing energy to the air of the city that you haven't seen in a while.
I'm going to just grab someone at some point.
I did tell the Ashari to start alerting the nearby
You grab
towns.
a gentleman who runs past you. He has like a graying beard with patches of black still. His top of his head is shaved bald, and you can see a bit of what looks to be some sort of a tattoo across one half of his face that curls into his ear. He's rushing with what looks like a cluster of spears under one arm, and he's wearing hide armor on his chest. You grab
there.
his arm.
What is the commotion?
Apparently, we're gearing up for some sort of an assault.
How soon?
We don't know. We've just been told to prepare.
Who told?
Probably us.
Just want to find out where it came from.
Oh, the chain of command from the top of the bastions as well. Apparently from some of the other temples here are speaking of some entity, some Vecna.
Good man. Carry on. Prepare.
It's
Very
a
well.
holy town. I bet whenever he ascended, all the clerics felt
You'll be
it.
fighting undead more than likely.
Very well. He goes to run off. Two of his compatriots stop and turn and give like a slow glance of recognition.
Just keep
towards
running.
Grog.
Keep running.
Oh no.
Keep running.
Alright. Let's keep going.
They've got it. They've got bigger things happening right now. Just keep running.
Yeah.
They,
Misdemeanor.
you guys continue. They kind of stare for a second and then keep running. They look to be preoccupied.
Yeah.
But you get the sense that at least word of someone matching your image has been disseminated throughout the
I am
town.
quite famous.
Do you want me to disguise you?
Sure, why not? What am I looking like?
Take this hat.
I have to attune to it. It takes forever.
Oh, that's true.
All right, I'll cast seeming on you, on all of us, because I can.
You make me look like Terry.
What's
No,
the plan? Where are we
what?
going?
That's not helpful.
That's not
Well, it's not
smart.
like he was in the room where it happened.
The room where it happened?
The room where it happened?
Keep running toward the Raven Queen Temple as
this,
that's happening.
I'll just make him look
We should
blue.
probably try and use our words.
No.
Blue and a foot smaller, like Blue Man Group.
Nice.
Black clothes, blue face, bald.
You have a little more of an ASMR appearance, though a larger one. You
look like a Vegas
as you've
mime.
seen.
Oh, man.
All right, where are you guys charging off to?
Yeah, Raven Queen Temple.
Okay, you're heading at the Raven's Crest.
Yeah.
All right. You make your way to the. Let me go back.
I'm gonna keep looking around and make sure no one's tailing us.
Okay, make a perception check.
21.
21. All right. Keeping an eye out, you don't see anybody following you at the moment. That does not appear to be an issue. Right. So you head to the area of the Dusk Meadow, to the southeast of the city. You come through the dry and cold and dusty sector. A little bit of snow appears to have melted into slush at the corners, but most of it's been kind of pushed off the main roads to the side. You see dirty snow kind of matted at the edges. You follow Vax very quickly through the streets, and you see a few of the veiled maidens of the Raven's Crest Eyrie taking note of you. And as you approach, they just point over to the Raven's Crest silently as you walk past.
Towards the door.
Quickly walk past.
I'm just gonna walk up the steps.
Fair enough.
Push open the door.
You rush past the. You're coming from the other side as opposed to the main entrance, so you rush past the hall that goes, which is the grand library that's attached to the Raven's Crest.
Everybody's with me. At this one, right?
And you come to the front doors. They're closed currently, but you have two of the maidens there at the front. And as you begin to turn from the side, they glance over and give notice, and then turn and push the doors open in preparation. With that, you all enter Raven's Crest itself, and looking within, you can see the beautiful interior of carved obsidians and gold trims and sigils that are marked and pushed throughout the interior of the structure. Are you leading into the central chamber?
Yeah, I'm bringing everybody with me right now.
Okay. No one stops you. And as you head up these stairs into the second chamber, and then finally to the large set of doorways that lead you into the central communion chamber of Raven's Crest, you guys enter this beautiful room that is surrounded in stained glass imagery of varying colors, largely in dark purples and reds, blues. And in the center, you see a large circular pool where a deep crimson liquid just sits perfectly still, familiar to both Percival and Vasselheim.
We need to talk. And I plant a big fucking kiss on her mouth. And then I turn to the rest of the group and say, nobody fucking touches me. Do you understand?
Where are you going?
Understood.
I walk in and I inhale as deeply as I can as I shove my face into the blood.
I hold Trinket back so that he doesn't go after him.
Okay.
I watch on the side and don't take my eyes off of him.
Okay. Pike instinctually walks up to the very edge, but avoids touching any liquid, and it's like, as you watch Vax just disappear into this thick liquid, no bubbles rise. You see a bit of movement from thrashing beneath the surface, and then stillness.
Is this what it goes? Is this what it goes through every time?
This is normal.
Is he a vampire?
He's not a vampire.
I think he's dead. I think he died in there.
I don't think that's how it works.
No, but I do think he's dead.
He's undead, isn't he? He's a zombie.
He's not a zombie.
His flesh is cold.
Gross.
Excellent.
And his
Should we
heart
kill
still
him?
beats.
We should kill him.
As the panic and pain subsides, much easier now than it was your previous ventures to this communion. The darkness surrounds you, familiar, but you are intent, you are driven. The very force of your conversation is pushed out from your personality into this ether, this surrounding infinite void. And the familiar voice comes. You burn with intent, my feathered boy.
We need to talk.
Then talk we shall. Speak your mind. You still see nothing around you. It's just the voice from the darkness.
We were too late to stop him. Vecna.
I sensed it, yes.
This dead man who wanted to be a god is now fucking god. We have been speaking to your brothers and sisters. Your found family. And they are arming us with what we need to fight your foe. You know who he is. He is upon us, and I have come to you for aid. And as I have learned, he is somewhat akin to you. He was one of us and has ascended like you.
He is no kin to me. He is a trier. He is a copycat. He ascends for selfish reasons, whereas I was merely following my destiny. He will be destroyed. You have the tools. You have the means. The weave is tangled before us. The threads grow knotted, hard to follow. But yours still glows so bright into that terrible knot.
This thing, this man, is your enemy, yes?
As he is the enemy of all things.
Agreed. I have come here seeking power.
You have my blessing already.
What of these trammels? these fragments of divinity. Have you that in you?
I don't know much of these trembles. Not that they were used. But I fear that is beyond my knowledge. The knowing mistress would be the one to speak to.
We have.
Then what do you need of me?
We need to power Trammels. The Dawn Father. The knowing mistress have contributed to our cause, to your cause. These seeds of power. I had hoped you could offer the same.
At this point, you feel a finger kind of trace across your chin from behind. You feel an arm, the weight resting on your shoulder. And it pulls and turns you around, and as you spin, you come face to face with the porcelain mask you're so familiar with. As the hand still holds the edge of your cheek and your shoulder. Am I to believe that this is not some ploy to diminish my power and leave me vulnerable, to cast me from my seat?
You knew me inside and out.
I know you, but do you know them? Do you think I've been welcome since I entered this pantheon? My existence is perpetually a threat to the creators. If anything, part of this burden that we all face lies on my shoulders as well. Why would they not think to strike at two birds with one stone? At which point you watch the feathers of her dress kind of furl out a bit, like a bird that's hit a chill.
Well, it depends on you then. And how much you want this wretch taken down.
Make a persuasion check.
It's
a long, silent stare. I put my faith in you. My fate touched. Do not forget that. And all I ask is you put all your faith in me.
You have it.
Then I shall watch your thread. Now wake up. In that instant, everything goes black once more, and you feel the pain, the heat in your lungs. But then it subsides quickly. And you stay there beneath the familiar thick surface of the blood. No need for air.
You're just chilling like a villain under the wall.
You can breathe blood.
The instinct to breathe is still there, but you realize after a moment of panic that it's not necessary.
Do I have what I came for?
You can't see. Your body is clenched tight, your muscles are still tense.
I'll move up.
You guys, after waiting for about 30 minutes, it feels like, of tense silence, you watch as the surface of the pool splashes upward, and you watch as a crimson Vax comes to the surface, not gasping for breath,
Monster, kill it.
Just quietly, just stoic. As he comes to the edge of the pool, step after step, dripping the blood with each footprint on the ground. Your fist hurts a bit from the tightness, but as you unfurl your fingers, you look down and see a small onyx opal.
Yes.
It's onyx opal. It's a stone about the size of a gem that big in your hand.
That is a big bean.
I need a bath.
Do we want to try and make one more jump?
Just a minute. I have a question. How many times have you done that?
6.
My gods.
Once.
This has been the craziest 48 hours of my life. I mean, wow, guys.
Campaign in 48 hours.
It's a lot.
Wow.
Do we want
I
to...
could have just been chilling.
Yeah.
You've
I'm
made
glad
some
you came and found us
bad
again.
decisions, haven't you?
I just stand clutching a gem, dripping blood, looking at the love of my
I
life.
kiss him back through the blood.
It tastes like pennies.
Fuck you! You kiss your bear
Keyleth
on
pulls-
the mouth.
It looks like
don't.
it looks like Keyleth had some barbecue
Oh, shit.
and wasn't paying
Oh,
attention.
confused.
We don't know where that blood's from.
That's love, y'all.
No, you know where that blood's from?
I was not expecting that.
Don't tell us.
It's like kissing 100 pennies.
You did it. You did it.
Okay, all right, let's clean you up.
Do we want to try and run one more time before we
Run where?
Well, head to the forge, I suppose. Find a sword, head to the forge.
How do we go to the forge? There's
Well,
no trees
I
there.
have one thought, right? Do we give a shit about Cord at all or no?
It would be great to have a fourth bean, but
not say no to
we're
it.
on a ticking time clock.
I like the idea of the cord bean, but I really want to go to bed.
Let's set up camp, and if you feel like you want to make one last, well...
I mean, I'll ask. You might just say no.
We don't even know where to find him, though.
Nope.
We're running out of time.
Yep. But it's right here. It's like popping into Blockbuster when you go to the grocery store. Might as well see what's up.
Kids don't know what Blockbuster
Blockbuster.
Nobody knows what
Red box. Maybe it's like being able to.
No,
click on red-
Blockbuster. Where are you from?
Okay.
Errol's Video.
2020.
Hollywood Video.
Do we want to set up shop here, or do we want to set up shop at the Temple of Cord?
I think here.
Let's.
I feel like we're safe.
I mean, we got like free reign. We
Safe-ish.
got like backstage passes. Everybody's like, right through
We'll
here.
be
I think
like
honestly, we're not
Always
safe.
quiet.
Honestly, here they just have difficulty identifying which of our blood is going to be splattered on
And
the
I'm
ground.
good with management. I think we can.
Let's just.
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem to be super tight with.
Do you,
like,
do you want to head over to Cord's temple as well? I have a feeling if we find him, we'll have to go to another plane.
Yeah, that was my assessment.
Assessment.
No, assess as well.
Yeah.
If you want to go do a little bit of footwork and see what it might take to get there, I can rest and try and get us there. Remember, you have to find a tuning fork, though, that is attuned to the specific plane.
You're
That-
speaking words that he doesn't.
Someone should go with
You
him.
need a magical vibrating fork that is connected to the vibrating plane of
I'll go
core.
with
Doesn't know what that word means.
I was just gonna go speak to Earthbreaker Groon. I don't know what's so hard about that. He gave me these gloves last time, so
Right.
you know.
I'm just letting you know the prerequisites that we might, so you can
The
ask
what?
the right question.
Fork.
Just go. Just
I'll go.
I'm gonna sleep.
I'll go with him.
Am I still blue?
You're still blue and you still look like Blue Man Group. So do you want me to go with you so that I can undo that when we get there?
You Tweedles want to come?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do you want to talk to him blue?
No, I want to be blue. Yeah, I want to stay blue.
But when you talk to Groon, do you want to be blue?
Yeah, you can just like dissipate, right?
So you want? I'll come with you.
Yeah. That cool?
Yeah.
All right, you guys rest. I'm gonna go find us a bean of strength and might. and sex appeal. Can I go to the Temple of Cold?
Yeah. So you guys make your way.
Am I making a mansion for the rest of you?
Well, we can sleep.
Smart.
three
I
of us.
feel like the
But
mansion
yeah.
is the smartest thing because if not,
They don't have Raven Queen cots or something?
well, we don't know.
so
He could, Vecna
Down.
can still
Yes.
see in here.
Oh, that's
Oh,
true.
small
Yeah,
call.
you're right. You're right.
All right, mansion. Enjoy yourselves.
Okay. You create the shimmering doorway, and you guys can enter the mansion without issue.
To the spa.
To the spa. I'll don the hat so I turn into the meat man, so no one can recognize
I'll walk
me.
as myself.
Okay. So, the three of you
Yeah.
make your way to the Braving Grounds.
As we're walking, I want to whisper to Scanlan though. I'm gonna whisper to the meat man's crotch because that's about even, right?
I think he's a little bigger.
I'll whisper
No.
to his waistline. So, the sword that Ioun was talking about, right? The sword of Cass?
The sword of Cass, yes.
Okay. Do you think it could possibly be the sword that Grog had?
The thought did occur to me, yes, but there are big differences.
Do you know?
I'll
For
be
sure.
the rat.
Well, Ioun did not talk about the talking sword, for one.
Well, no, but she didn't say it wasn't a talking sword.
That's true.
She said it was a vengeful sword, which,
Do you think we should go get it to make sure?
I mean...
We should have asked for some sort of identifying
clue.
feature.
Yeah, we really should have. Maybe we can
She
just ask
said,
the sword.
"Do you have any more questions?"
And we didn't
Yes.
do it. But maybe if we see that sword, we can be like, hey, do you know who Cass is? And if he does, then we're like, oh, fuck.
You want to go visit Cravenedge.
But I'm saying this quietly. I
Oh.
don't want Grog to realize that we're doing this because he's kind of got a thing for Cravenedge.
I held the sword once.
You did?
I have a thing for Cravenedge as well.
Oh, fuck. Like, oh, shit.
Make an intelligence roll, actually. Roll a d20, add your intelligence modifier. +1 because you have permanent +2 to your intelligence.
Intelligence check?
Yeah, just roll your. What's your intelligence modifier?
I like that you don't know what that is after
11.
500 hours.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not like as.
It's on the category at the top.
Don't forget your Ioun papers.
Oh, yeah. And you just got +2 to
8
intelligence.
+2 +1 is 11.
Oh,
It's 11,
God!
Okay, continue.
Continue. You didn't pass the test.
I mean, do I get to add my jack of all trades?
Yeah, +3.
14! No.
Anything?
Nothing, continue.
It was a very powerful sword,
Yeah.
but perhaps it's worth a check. How do we get there? We'll have to talk to Keyleth about it.
What?
Swords know each other. That's like weird.
I don't think the timelines match.
Why?
But I could be wrong. I'm not there.
No, but I mean, like Delilah Briarwood, Lord Briarwood had the sword. They were seeking Vecna.
Yeah. That's
So
where they got that shit.
it could, you know.
Oh, that's true.
It could work out.
But they were making out like Vecna had this
They're making out?
sword. While we had
We don't know anything
No,
about
but
the sword of
Vecna
Cass
doesn't
other
have-
than
Vecna
it
No,
exists.
Vecna doesn't have the
His
sword
buddy
right now
Kaz.
No one's
because
seen the
Kaz or
sword.
Cass?
No one's seen the sword of
Kaz.
Kaz since Vecna was destroyed, along with Kaz.
so
no one has
It's like the
seen
ring
Except
going down
for
a
us.
river
exactly.
into oblivion.
So Cravenedge could be the sword of Cass.
Got lost and was refound by the Briarwoods.
By the Briarwoods, they were going to awaken him, but then he died.
Or it's just a sword.
Or it's just a
Or it's
sword
just a
that
sword.
just likes blood.
We gotta do something.
Can we go?
Sorry, Grog. Yes,
You
of
actually
course.
are walking in theory.
Yeah.
We're walking.
Who can
We're
we
doing
ask?
this
Oh,
on
are
the
we?
walk. Yeah,
How
we're
would we
walking
know?
away.
Okay.
We're not wasting time with this conversation.
I know
We're
where to
traveling with this
find it.
I
conversation.
didn't realize.
Yeah.
We'll ask Keyleth when we get back.
Okay. Huh? We sent it to the plane of the Dread Emperor.
She knows how to get it, I think,
Okay.
yes.
So, you guys make your way through the proving grounds. Where are you heading to specifically?
To the Temple of Cold with the big man outside.
Trial
the big-
Forge.
The Trial Forge, the big
Okay.
doors.
You make your way to the Trial Forge. The doors are currently closed. It is mid-evening at this point. It's probably, at this point, with the communion and guys making your way across the city, yes, close to midnight.
Nice.
Your knocks are very loud
Yeah.
and easily heard. About 20 seconds later, when they begin to open, you hear the the cinching of chains as the doors are kind of pulled open ever so slightly, and one of the monks of Cord arrives at the front, sees you, recognizes you with just a bit of glance.
He's blue.
Oh, that's right. He does not recognize you.
I apologize for the late flower. Don't be confused. It's me, Grog Strongdraw, wielder of the Titanstone Knuckles. I'm in Cog Cheeto.
I will drop the form of Grog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very well. Can I help you?
Yeah, I seek an audience with Earthbreaker Groon, if I might.
Super dire importance.
Very important. It pertains to the emergence of Vecna.
All right. This may coordinate with this current effort. Very well. Please enter.
Oh. Can we come in?
Yeah.
You guys make your way in.
I am a legitimate businessman.
I'm very curious as to why you are here, then.
For business dealings.
You work with Vox Machina.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Okay, you walk through the halls. Your footfalls echoing across the stone floor, the large archways and the pillars. It is very quiet, and as you approach the edge of the central sandpit, in the center you see Groon currently sitting in meditation with what looks to be something drawn in the sand with a finger. Some sort of a sketch.
May I approach?
The head facing away from you kind of picks up a bit.
You may. Report stats.
He slowly stands up and brushes sand from the hands, not turning, but just looking over the shoulder ever so slightly at you.
What brings you to the temple at this hour? We have urgent business. What are you drawing there?
Finish your statement.
Right, sorry. We come with grim tidings. Vecna is at large, and we mean to take him down.
I know only what I've been told. We are gathering the monks for defense of the city. Awaiting orders. I've been trying to meditate on where this danger is.
We have a theory. We think he might be originating in Wild Note? No. He is in. Yep, he is.
You don't know where
disco
he is
dancing.
exactly.
What the fuck?
He's going to. We've been speaking to the gods.
You might want to talk to me. I'm like his most prized pupil.
I'm going to stand next to Grog while I say this.
In the sandpit?
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm going to fly down to the sandpit and land next to Grog.
Lady Vixolia, great fighter, very brave.
Hi.
Still hasn't turned around, but it seems to be listening.
Champion of Pelor, the Dawnfather.
Same continent as the fire shard.
We've been speaking to the gods. We're taking on Vecna. Hopefully not alone. But, we need to speak with Cord. I know that sounds odd, but I was hoping, Grog was hoping...
I was hoping
that you
would know how
to contact
him directly.
Perhaps maybe have something that was tuned to his plane of existence,
potentially.
You have drawn Cord's attention once. Directly. He is aware of you. Should you wish to speak, that I can teach. It is a long process of piety, meditation, and learning of the history of the Stormlord himself. But it can be done.
How long of a process is this that we're talking?
You cannot rush faith.
I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to rush faith. I'm just saying that Vecna has ascended to godhood. We have a limited amount of time to take him down. We need to speak with Cord.
I cannot help you.
You can't speak to him directly.
I can meditate and reach out, perhaps, but
Maybe draw his attention to us. The need is dire.
it doesn't work the way you ask. Cord isn't a giving god.
He's not.
Make a religion check.
Okay, yeah.
Come on,
This
Laura.
is gonna go so well.
Do it. Sure.
Wish I had read that.
You know? Hold on. Oh, no, 20.
Okay. You know about Cord. Cord, from what you understand, is the god of competition and storms and chaotic nature and good neutral territory, but is emphasizes contest and
self-reliant.
yeah, it's not the kind of god you could beseech with a word.
Maybe you can, like, you know, tell him there's a big fight coming. Call out to him, get his attention.
See if he wants like box seats or something.
Yeah, say like fucking he can help take down the big bad guy.
Free food and drinks.
Definitely. Like, you know, prime tickets to UFC fight.
Do you happen to know from all your years of meditation, like what plane or where Cord might reside?
Eastgard.
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 He's God.
He is God.
That's what I thought he said.
YSGARD.
Eastgard. Is that on another plane?
Near the fields of Elysium. It's a totally different place.
I do not know.
Yes. Listen, he is very busy right now with his meditation garden.
Right. So you have nothing else that you can do? I know that you're going to fight his troops, but the fact of the matter is, Vecna is a god. If we can't find some way to speak to Cord, we may not be able to save the world again.
Action now would prevent the spread of his power.
If what you say is true, I'm certain Cord already knows. We will do what we can, but what you ask is not within our ability to grant.
Fair enough. You don't happen to have a bean on you, do you? Hard nub.
Powerful beans. Super.
For the first time, you see Cord kind of glance over his shoulder at you with
He hasn't looked at us this
a
whole fucking
no. He's been just like like back to you, kind of looking over the shoulder.
He's been
He finally turns and goes. Like gives he gives a nudge to one of the other monks up top, who kind of darts off. A few awkward, quiet minutes pass. Jumps down into the sand pit, runs up, and hands you a small satchel.
I look inside.
It is filled with beans.
Yeah!
All I
You
wanted.
got everything you ever wanted, Glock.
You did it.
Congratulations.
Everybody else got one, I got a satchel.
Fucking sack.
Just fucking name the group after me. If we are out, thank you.
Could I see what he was drawing in the sand while we were over there?
Make a perception check.
I'll do it too,
18?
because I was curious.
Okay, yeah, you can go for it.
Don't worry about it.
You glance over and you see one sketch that appears to be a general overview of the city, of all the different quarters that make up the mountain. And it looks like he's essentially trying to work out defense positions within the city and preparing for some sort of a siege.
I thank you for seeing us this late hour, and I wish you luck in the defense of this temple and this city.
I wish I could be of more help.
You have been.
Grun. If Vecna attacks here, he'll bring undead.
That's all right. We'll bring the storm.
Ooh, fuck, that was a dope line. Sorry, I'm cool. I'm cool, we're out.
If you ever need any antique furniture or decor, ask for the meat man. He gets you good deal.
And he just turns back to facing away.
Really, really creepy as a meat man. I just want to.
Make sure as we back away. Back away.
Back away.
Facing.
What was Cord painting?
He was like drawing in the sand.
Oh, he's drawing. What? Yeah. Please tell me it was a horse playing saxophone. That's all I really
He sits back down in the sand pit and goes back to his concentration, leaves you to your business.
That was a total win. I got a bag full of beans.
Good job, Grog.
Yep. And we know that Cord is on. He's a god. So.
Yeah, he's in Isgard.
You saying it weird.
He's God.
He's god. So back to the Raven. Sure, I'll change back.
I can't do it again.
What do you mean? You can't?
I guess I could do it one more time. Sure.
We're going back to sleep, right? It's either that or I put a fancy run over my whole face.
But this time, I make us all blue.
Lovely. Can I have
I have a desire to bang on drums.
hair.
Play on play.
Dark blue skin, light
Yeah.
blue hair?
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
I'll be opposite.
Bald caps.
What?
Not blue painted bald caps.
No, no, no. I want beautiful hair.
Not
I've
real
always
blue
wanted
man
blue hair.
You get it.
That's not the blue man group I know.
We make
I'll
our
be
way.
bald and so will Grog.
We make our way back to the temple.
That's not noticeable.
Is the
at
bustle
all.
the same outside of the temple?
Well, as you step out of the temple and Scanlan blues you all, you make your way across.
Episode title: The Blue Job.
Yeah.
The multiple blue jobs.
Okay, so as you exit the temple, it's late night, and it looks like the bustle has calmed down a little bit, as it is the evening, but you do see there are normally what are small kind of patrol lights at the edges of the walls. You can see large fires are burning at the edges to extend eyesight. You can see a few, and it's interesting. You see wyverns in the sky. You hear the familiar cries of wyverns, and at first, it catches you off guard. But Vexalia, glancing up, and you can see they all have what looks to be some sort of barding on them, silver and blue barding.
Oh shit! It's like the Temple of Bahamut's.
Yep.
Yes.
Fucking A.
Platinum dragons. They have wyvern riders here that act as air patrol during times of intense.
Hell yeah, the Air Force is up.
Yeah.
Air Force got scrambled.
Hell yeah.
Formation. Smoke.
I really hope Vasselheim stands.
You guys make your way back to Raven's Crest, to the entranceway to Scanlan's magnificent mansion, and to the rest of your party. Freshly washed.
Hey.
So, just a question. What's on the menu?
Beans, apparently.
No, look, how do you even know that?
I just assumed.
No, he's talking about
because I know you.
The kitchen is they have lots of beans.
Why would
because
you only serve beans? There's no like meat
vegan.
or
It's
fish?
vegan here. We
What?
serve a lot of beans.
Because of your daughter?
Yes.
Well, she's not here. Can we make an exception?
She's always here in my heart.
No,
Definitely not in the
I swear to
kitchen, though,
God.
so we're going to cook anything we like.
I got what we needed. I got myself a bean.
You got a shard?
In fact, I got several shards.
What?
I got a bag full of shards.
Yep.
Hold on. The power might bow you all over.
That actually might. That might, especially if not eaten with rice. That
These
might-
are-
What are you doing?
Dry beans.
It's all right. I can eat anything.
How do you feel?
Tastes like ash.
Yeah. So does everything.
It tastes like ash.
We used to eat these in the fire ashari all the time. These
God,
are like a
these-
rare delicacy.
These are my
Good
shots.
find,
You are
Grog.
not showing respect to my.
I could grow some more. Oh my god. Like, we could have coal bean soup all the time at home, you guys. These are coal beans. They're great. Cool.
Oh.
I'm making shit up.
God
damn it, I had
There
it.
could be an actual seat of power within there.
Scanlan,
Is there a table nearby?
Yeah, you're not too far from the.
I dump all the beans out on the table. Are there any beans that look different from the rest?
Make an investigation check.
I'll look over his shoulder and help look. I'm gonna help look.
16. It's not bad.
That's not bad.
You actually find 4 beans that look to be a bit darker.
Darker.
But squishier.
Squishier.
They look to maybe be a little on the rotten side.
These are the beans. I mean, I should have thought cord is like a fist, and you put one of each 4 on the knuckles.
They're knuckle beans?
I squish each one of the beans.
on
the
and
tops
they
of
squish
knuckles.
easy.
I'm not praying. I'm not praying, man. Bless my gauntlet.
Oh, great chord.
Anything happen?
Please see.
There's a little juice running down your gauntlet.
No, they're glowing.
Well.
Fermented? Fermented.
Yeah.
A little funky.
Sorry,
some
Paul.
fresh ones.
You know what? I bet if I pray hard enough, they will disappear. Look above you.
Oh.
We can slide a hand check.
Hey, it's not terrible. Ah, I got +2. 18.
Strangely, Scanlan and Pike are kind of impressed.
I just rolled a 2. Whoa. That was impressive.
Yeah, we know the line between me and Cold. Super tight.
Keyleth goes behind Grog and starts cleaning up the beans that he just threw.
Fine. Pretty good, right?
Honestly, kind of blown away.
I know. Maybe I should get a tattoo for Cold, kind of like the symbols you have for Sarah, right?
What do you think of the tattoo?
I don't know, like a fist?
Or a bean.
Or a... Hey, don't put ideas in my head.
A little happy
like a bean.
Because actually, the symbol of Stormlord's kind of cool. I can show it for you. And she pulls a piece of paper and sketches it up for you, and it's this kind of cool disc, like this dark metal disc with blue bolts of lightning that stick out of the
The
center.
Stormlord symbol is the gem.
The bean in the middle.
That is like a cartoon bean. I'm
a
not
bean
putting
with
that
a
on my
dick.
body.
With a dick.
That is the words. The dick is smaller than the balls.
Well, no, but it's a bean.
It's
what do you
like a
expect?
parrot's beak.
There.
Listen, we're gonna stick with the Stormlord sigil.
We are going to save the world.
Yeah, sorry. Well, listen, I found out where Cord is. He's in a place called.
Isgard.
Isgard.
Sure.
Oh, are you familiar?
No.
No. Why'd you say sure?
I was just seeming intelligent.
I do that all the time. Anybody have any idea where that is?
No.
Do we?
You can ask.
Okay, who can we ask?
Asking the dungeon master.
Make a religion check.
All right.
If you're only if you're trained in it.
I'm making a religion check.
Oh, Pike.
Jeepers.
I'm not.
I just rolled for Pike.
Oh.
That's not good.
But I'm not trained
You're
yet.
trained in. Oh.
So,
Religion is knuckles.
Just a 12.
17 for me.
you're not
I'm
trained.
not trained in religion.
Not a whole lot of information gleaned on this.
Oh well.
Okay. How'd Pike roll?
Pike didn't roll that great.
Fuck.
Percy, with your migraine,
Yeah.
do you know what else we need to make these channels?
I've been thinking a lot. I've been trying to skirt around this information for a bunch of reasons, so I've been making a mental shopping list.
Yeah. And from what you recall, it seems that the tools that were used to build them are generally with the actual
And the walking out.
the anvil, the forge.
Nice.
It's more the essence of the god that drives the tremel. The material required is pure platinum.
Platinum mines.
Yeah, that we buried under a mountain.
So we know where they are.
You mean the ones?
How much platinum do we need?
I
For
don't
sure
know
need
which ones you're
platinum?
The
talking
tremels
about.
are about that long. Like they're like giant stakes of platinum.
We need a lot of platinum.
Don't we need a lot of diamonds too?
I'm
Why do we need
attempting to do the math of how much platinum.
For the next time one of us dies?
I mean, if you were to melt down platinum pieces, each tremel would probably be close to, I'd say, with the density and the thickness of it. Like 500 platinum.
Each trammel is 500 platinum.
Yeah, for the thickness of it, like for the pure platinum structure.
How
Yeah,
much
it's about
do we
that
have?
long.
Well, I didn't write exactly how much platinum we have. I just I transposed the platinum into gold in my notes.
Okay.
We can buy platinum.
We can just
go
to the bank and exchange it.
You can exchange gold for platinum.
Okay.
Wait, Grog, you had it in
Our
your
treasure.
original bag of holding.
Yep.
How much was written down on our original bag of holding
I don't
list?
know. There were like a bunch of digits.
Do you not still have it written down?
If he actually has the phrase "a bunch of digits," that would make me so happy right now.
You know, we could always take Kima's greatsword. It's made out of solid platinum.
What do you mean the? Well, no, she has that sword now. Yeah,
she
you have to
does.
take it from her.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
Who was the other band of travelers who fought and lost?
1600 platinum.
We had 1,600 platinum.
1609. 16.
I mean, I hope we're not gonna find out.
1619. Sorry.
There's part of me that just doesn't want to know.
We're gonna find out.
So we could just
The Avenger.
go to the bank here in Vasselheim and switch out the money for platinum. We have enough gold to do.
I don't know why I went.
It's like 500 platinum each, you said?
Yeah.
So 500.
No, I mean, I could just stop.
Is
like
there a
this,
place where we
that
can
makes
find bars?
Is that 5,000 gold would be 500 platinum? Okay.
I have a question.
The idea is you have to melt it down to get rid of the impurities, to get the metal down to its purest form. There's a process to it that you are actually familiar with
Super
now.
familiar with all of a
This should
sudden.
not be doing. This should not be a problem.
So because we have all these like shards, right? These like magical beans. If we lose, do we effectively kill all the gods whose shards we have?
We depower them, so they'll certainly be weak when they go against Vecna. Woof.
Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility I was not aware of.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, cool.
need to not lose.
At all.
They're
Do we
still
want-
diminished after if we do defeat Vecna. That part of them is forever chaining him.
Just if we fail, then he could be coming after them. They have no line of defense.
Worst scenario possible. Cool. Good to know.
Good news is you do know that the divine gate works both ways.
Sure.
He could not travel into their realms.
Ah.
They cannot travel into that. However, it prevents them from intervening directly on his dominion over the prime material plane.
And as far as we know, this other group did not have the help of gods.
Right. As far as we know.
As far as we know, unless they went to all the other gods we have not met
We
yet.
can. It's not like we can't just look in on anyone that we need to really quickly. We're feeling the urge.
I mean,
Do you know who it could have been?
I mean, we might want to check
It's a
and
big
see
world.
if Laura Gilmore, Kima, all our buddies are okay. Cash,
That was
Zara.
my first thought.
My question is, does it matter at the moment?
Of course it matters, dear.
Does it?
Yes.
Does it just make us panic?
No.
At least we'd know if he raised them up like he said he did. That we'll be fighting an
hate the
undead
undead.
Gilmore, an undead Allura.
All right, point made. Point very well made.
Your sister.
No.
Let's start with.
I have a few scries that I want to do anyway.
Can we scry from this dimension?
Nope, I gotta pop out. So
Shouldn't you rest first?
no.
No, should finish this first.
What do you need?
I'm just wondering if I do any type of like large magic, if it'll alert him.
He'll.
Hey, hey! What happened to that skull that we got in Brimscythe's basement?
With the gem.
The gem in the eye.
Funny you should ask.
Remember we thought it might be connected.
They have a gem in one eye, if I recall.
Yeah, a green emerald gem in one socket, you dicks.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's a
Laura has it.
You gave it, yeah. We gave it to Laura.
What?
Laura has it.
No, it's in Percy's workshop.
Sure. And Allura came down and saw it, and no, I gave it to Allura.
I wonder if it's spying on everything.
I'm sorry, Grog.
I gave you your deck of cards back. The school was very dangerous, and at the time it seemed like the right thing to do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, we just went and got a bunch of beans for you.
That's true.
And also, buddy, we might be dead in a week. You really don't want to hold on to that kind of shit.
Look, I mean, like, I
we may
guess
be
I
going to
need
get
to
the
hold
skull
up my
back.
head. I'm
Well,
just
yeah,
like,
because I
in
was
the
just.
moment.
We could get the skull back, and I was just. Because I was going through my notes, my old diary, of everything that we've been through.
It literally has a leaf on it. My God.
I have like 4 diaries
I've
of
noticed.
everything we've been through.
Oh, I've read them.
But we
Dumb
said.
character keeps a diary.
It said evil skull in Brimside's. Well, in 121, we found an evil skull in Brimside's house. It may be connected to Craven Edge. And I put stars next to it.
Why did we put stars next to it because it was important? It was supposed to
I
put
don't
stars
know.
next to
That's
things.
just what I wrote down.
Well, all right.
What looks like a year and a half ago.
I mean, do you need me to like drop my scholastic knowledge on this shit? Because I will. It talked to me, and it was like, if you free me, I'll give you a wish.
The skull?
Yeah. Why do you think I was
I
trying to break
don't
that shit?
believe if you freed it, you would have gotten a wish. I think you would have fought something.
Do you know for sure?
No.
Then what are we talking about?
Let's find out what's going on with the skull.
Yeah, I mean, we are kind of in final days here.
Yeah, we've got like, let's give
What are we
ourselves.
doing?
Well,
we're
maybe
gonna,
it was just a lich or something.
We're going to try and take 40 hours to get as much done as humanly possible.
We need to scry on the fucking friends.
Laura.
Yeah.
We need to check in on that skull, maybe.
Sure.
And you need to maybe open up the plane to the Dread Emperor and see about the
That
Craven
is
Edge.
low priority.
What now?
The gods must be crazy.
Part 2.
That's low priority.
Is it?
I don't think that's the thing.
What if that weapon is like super good against
Just
Vecna?
because it's a sword?
Well. Okay, wait, did she say we needed the sword? Also, I kind
said it
of
would
think the knight guy that you fought that was super awful
Yeah.
was the bloody yeah.
No, Cass is destroyed. He turned to ash. He fought Vecna and was turned
Did
to
the knight
ash.
have a sword?
He did. A giant blade that emitted shadow.
But it wasn't
Maybe that was the sword.
No,
wasn't he
the
brought back?
sword has been.
He did say it emitted shadow.
Kaz the bloody handed, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
okay,
the,
wait, he
the
fought-
Death
He
Knight.
fought against Vecna. They destroyed each other. It's the reason Vecna was destroyed to begin with.
But maybe he brought Kaz back, and that was the Death Knight we fought.
Maybe.
The world is full of mysteries.
One of which is whether or not our friends are alive.
Why don't
so
we
to
find
start
out?
with-
All right, I'm gonna step outside and I'm gonna scry on Allura first.
Step out with her because.
And I'm gonna. Nothing. I'm just gonna stand by my girlfriend.
So, you're scrying first.
Allura.
Okay. So, you step out into the center of the structure.
Wait, is anybody around? Nothing's weird out of the ordinary?
It's a giant pool of blood, but
You're in the Raven Crest.
Perception check.
Okay, just want to make sure people just punked us at
We're
Sprig's
inside a
cabin.
church. We're inside a church.
Perception check.
Doesn't mean assassins can't get inside a church.
Just go, just scry.
Okay, I'm going.
Go for it.
Okay, so as you sit and focus, concentrate, you draw out the various arcane glyphs in the ground and focus on Allura. Your vision expands into the sky, whoosh, rushing through the night air and the spattering of clouds that have amassed over Vasselheim. It fires through the stratosphere, dives down into the center of Iman, into what looks to be a bedroom. She is currently at a desk and is feverishly writing on parchment. She's kind of, her hair's tousled a bit and she has a thick robe kind of over her shoulders. And you can see as she finishes writing something, rolls it up, seals it, sets it into a pile, thinks a second, casts a spell absentmindedly. It flickers off and vanishes. She goes back to writing. The door opens and you watch as Kima comes in and kind of brings a little tray with some hot tea and sets it down beside her. Kind of rubs her shoulder a bit, and Allura just looks back at her and kind of nods. You guys are the worst. Allura just kind of puts her face in her hand for a second, rubs her temples. She looks tired. And then Kima leaves the room, and Allura's just left there to think for a second, looks out the window of her tower, and goes back to her writing.
Okay.
Was she covered with blood?
No, she's fine. She's safe in Amon. Good.
She's undead.
So
We
is
gotta
Kima.
kill her.
They're both safe.
Skull was next on the list.
Well, Laura has the skull.
Okay.
Do we have any way to talk to her?
No.
No.
Okay, shall I do Gilmore next? Is
I
that
mean, if
necessary?
Allura's good and Gilmore's good.
No.
I can scry on an object, right?
An object or a person?
Yeah.
Should I do the skull?
You know.
Is it a safe assumption that the skull is with her? She's pretty
I think
fucking
it's
badass.
Safe assumption.
I mean, it might just be like a lich
doubt she's
phylactery or
lost
something.
it.
It might not be a
Who
big
else would
deal.
have gone into battle against Vecna?
Well, if it is a lich phylactery.
It's a big world.
That would be something we would
Yeah, I guess it could have been
smash
just anybody. Could have been Cash.
It could have been Terry.
Who? Who? Oh, that
Terry.
that fancy fellow.
Oh my god, can you scry on Terry? What if he came searching for us?
But Terry was still in.
Let's pick a city. Let's just keep looking at people in various cities.
A moment.
Terry. We would feel it.
Yes, that's right.
Keyleth just spit out an idea. I mean, if that skull, which looked like his fucking head, we've dealt with the Lich before. If it has even a chance of being a vessel for his life force, even a chance, wouldn't we want to not use it but destroy it?
I will impart the information that you did discover that the skull was the skull of a Githyanki.
See.
Oh, that was from like 300 hours ago.
Like
I
a
misspoke.
genie, right?
No. They're a
another race,
type of people, a race of people that traverse the astral sea.
But it has one eye.
Oh, it has two eyes.
The emerald in there was just like
emerald.
And the
Yeah,
emerald, and there was a
the skull
soldier.
shape was kind of alien. It was kind of elongated and almost elven.
That was hundreds of hours ago.
That was a while ago.
I don't
I
know.
just wanted to save you cyclically arguing about something without
Thank
some
you.
information.
Thanks, man.
So.
Oh, we'll still
I'm sure you will.
We're not done talking about.
Oh yeah, this clusterfuck's not over.
It's been a half hour of just fuckery right here.
A little hemming, a little bit of hawing.
Wait a minute. Didn't we also, are we forgetting about like one undead thing? Didn't we want to go back and talk to like Delilah's body? Like,
Oh yeah, we're going to have that conversation.
We can do that in the
bag.
That's right.
She's in the bag of holding.
She's in the bag of colding.
We can talk to her. And, she might be in the colding. Let's talk to her. Let's get in the
No,
mansion
she's
and
in the
talk
bag
to
of
her.
holding.
We've got
You
Delilah.
jabbed her.
Oh, that's right. We didn't give a
Disgusting.
fuck.
Let's go in.
did you want me to?
Let's go in the mansion
We're
first.
gonna go in the mansion.
Are we not in the mansion right now?
Oh, we are
We
in the
stepped
mansion.
out for a second.
I never left.
Yeah, it was
Great.
just Keyleth and I.
The door's
Yeah,
open.
part
We're
of the
talking.
stuff.
Yeah, real
Come on
quick. I
in.
still also want to scry on the shore comb.
We're going to set up. We're going to set her up so that she's nice.
And you guys get her set up.
Like in a chair.
in a chair, and we're going to bind her.
You guys pull the corpse of Delilah
post-mortem
Briarwood
melting.
out of the bag.
Post-mortem
It hasn't been that long.
Doesn't
The
look
body's
that long.
stiff. I mean, a lot of the head is missing.
Looks good.
Yeah.
good.
Rigor mortis has definitely caused the body to kind of
Right.
tighten up a bit. It's
What's the expression on the face?
There's a lot of undead gas.
I mean, limp. Like it's
Okay.
yeah. The muscles would relax.
Cool.
Okay, so
I'm with you.
as you guys are propping this up, you complete your scrying on Shorecombe, and what you do is you get a vision of the central area of the city, right near the cliffside. There's like these sheer cliffs that drop off for maybe like a couple hundred feet and lead down to the gravelly, rocky beach. The dark rocks, pebbles that go out for maybe about 30 feet until they hit the water, and that's where they have these wooden steps that wind down the side of the cliff that lead to the docks, and they have winches and cranes that lift heavy objects to and from the docks to get actually into the city. You do see there are a lot of the trees are very thin, but within the actual city proper, you see a handful of larger trees that are at this time, because it's pushing into the end of winter, beginning of spring. A lot of them are just leafless, but possible to use your transformia plants with.
Copy.
All right. You've propped up her corpse. You've bound it. Pike is kind of. Okay.
We're right behind you. It's fine.
It's a good cause, Pickle.
Yeah.
Well, do we have our questions? Do you want me on?
I mean, we get 5.
We got 5 questions.
3, 5?
5.
I'm going to double check.
17.
Was Craven Edge the sword?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a
actually.
great
Yes.
Yeah, the sort of
yes.
cast.
The sort of cast.
Solid question.
We could ask about Vecna and her buddy.
Who the guy was.
The banished
Grizzly,
rock.
the bloody,
the
the
Shadow
bloody,
Knight.
bloody,
That's right.
bloody fist, bloody
I'm
stump,
writing them down in my mind.
bloody-handed.
Right.
What he has done to prepare for the inevitable attempt to rebind him.
Does he have any weaknesses? Is that too broad?
Does she have to answer? Do they have to answer?
Nope.
No.
Fuck.
But she might not care, right?
I don't know. We've got a few things we can threaten her with.
Do you want to fill us in on those?
We can attempt to have her consecrated and buried in the Raven Queen's temple so that nothing will ever bring her back again.
One more.
that's fun.
One more
Sassy.
question.
Also, in theory, I think it's possible that I could just send her to hell.
Do we
It might
want
be
to ask
possible.
where he is, or where he was going, or
I haven't really experimented with this.
what
I've
his
really been
plan
excited
is
to try.
after ascending?
Percy, buddy.
A bit.
You are a married man.
Where he is, or where he's planning to attack first, or what his
Focus.
display of power is going
Questions.
Oh, sure, because he wanted
His
to.
display of
He has
power.
to do a
He's gotta
display
do a
of
big display
to
of
get
power, what it's going to be.
followers. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah.
to be. So we have sort of cast, Bloody Knight, what he's trying to do to prevent his binding, the weakness, fears, and display of power.
Unless the knight was Silas. I don't know.
Well,
Let's
I
find out.
Nah.
Possible.
Possible.
Well,
You give it
Okay.
those
That
5?
was my first
Yeah.
question. Before I
Cool.
bit the
I feel pretty good. I like this plan.
Like this candle.
Okay. She gets her holy symbol, takes out her component pouch, and begins setting up the ritual for the Speak with Dead spell. It takes her but a moment to invoke it. Her eyes glow. The symbol suddenly shines this column of light onto the corpse of Delilah Briarwood, there motionless against the chair that you found the body. The spell now released. The glyphs in the ground kind of faintly glowing with this energy. Pike reaches out and concentrates. There's no spirit.
What?
Shit. What? She's already been brought back.
There's no soul to grasp. Either the soul is beyond reach or she's not dead.
How many
Wait,
times
she's
are we
not
going
dead?
to have to
She got
fight
away.
this bitch?
How?
got
We have
away.
her body.
She's a
I don't
necromancer.
know,
I don't know what that means.
It means, and
I'm
she,
a holy man. I'm a priest of Ioun. I don't know about the undead.
Because you got holes.
My brother, please.
My son.
Shit.
well, even as a
Could try to
source of
scry on
information,
her.
as a source of vengeance, she is just a constant disappointment.
Can I scry on her?
Do you have another spell slot?
I have 3 5th-level spells plus my Scry and I that I haven't used yet.
So if you'd like to, yeah.
I guess step outside again.
Yep.
All right.
Hey, be sneaky about it,
Wait,
okay?
do we have to do it in outside?
We already did. We are
Yeah,
outside.
this is
All
another
right.
plane of existence.
All right.
We have to be on the same plane.
What's your spell
Yep.
DC?
21.
You concentrate your vision and focus on the whereabouts, perhaps, of where Delilah Briarwood might be if she's on this plane. Your vision pulls out of your body, rockets once again through the stratosphere, the darkness. It's hard to place direction, but your essence is drawn back down through the clouds over what looks to be the center of a rocky mountain range covered in snow and ice. You're suddenly, another flash, And there you are amongst the city of Tharamvala. There's another flash, and you see what looks to be a hole in the ground, a large carved tunnel. You see hooded figures, blurry at the edges of this vision, emerging. And there you see, stepping out of the tunnel, Delilah Briarwood, with both eyes. Steps out, her hood up, pulls it back. She glances off to a direction you can't see and goes, "It's almost ready." A voice comes in through your ear. Like what you see.
I hate him so much.
Immediately you pull out of the scrying experience and you look around and your friends are staring at you. You guys didn't hear anything, but once again you hear in your ear once more.
Don't worry. All shall be revealed soon enough.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Sleep well, young Keelan.
What's going on?
Where did you look? What did you see?
There's no safe place to hide. He can see us everywhere. He know we should go. We should go. We should go.
Where?
You're outside of the mansion. Come in the mansion.
What if he comes here? What if he comes here to try and find us and he kills all of these people? What if we let him here?
He knows we'll lead him anywhere, darling.
And Delilah.
She's alive. She's at Tharamvala. Both eyes this time.
I was going to ask.
She'll remove it soon.
She said, "It's almost time. It's happening soon. Whatever he's doing, it's happening soon." And then he spoke to me in my vision. He said my name. He knows. Oh. She's alive.
I know.
How many times?
As many as it takes.
Can you plane shift us from here, from the mansion?
No. Oh.
No, you can plane shift from the mansion.
Plus we need to rest.
Well, we have to rest.
We have to
You can do it in the morning.
I can burn my 9th level spell and get us there right now.
But we'll leave the
No.
mansion.
No.
But we'll lose the mansion.
We need the mansion to sleep. We can't sleep
have to
anywhere
sleep.
without the mansion.
I can sleep and I can plane shift us when we wake up
All right.
from this
We have
mansion.
Was that 9th level spell? Plane
We
shift?
can also just step outside and then.
7th.
Okay.
I could also, we could just transport via plants, and
We'll do
I
that
found a
in the
tree to get us
Good.
to shore
Shorecomb.
Shore bottom.
shore bottom.
Okay.
Sure, but.
Sure,
As
buddy.
awful as it
Tunnels
is,
of toxic
we need to
fumes
sleep.
underneath.
If we can't fight him in the morning, or any time.
We have
Well,
to
we have to go
prepare
underground,
the tunnels of toxic fumes and all sorts of stuff.
We're going to have to breathe.
go underwater.
We're going to have to figure out a way to survive.
We have to
Deal with poison there and breathing underwater.
No problem.
You know, like you do.
Visit the water Ashari for those
Things. Yeah, that's smart.
I could also just cast water breathing on like 8 of us.
Will that save us
Water
from poison?
Water breathing gets you under the water, but you still have poison in the air once you get to the lava tubes.
But she was talking. But the things from the water Ashari, the like, will
That
those
would
help with
protect us
poison
from
as well?
poison.
Those help you filter
Heroes
water
Feast.
into
Heroes
air.
Feast.
Poison's a
Heroes
different thing.
Heroes
Heroes
Feast.
Feast.
Immune to poison.
Really?
Heroes Feast.
Yeah.
Do we
For
have a
a
chalice?
certain
We
amount
have
of
2
time.
chalices.
For an amount of
From the
time.
palace.
Chalice from the palace?
That's the truth is true.
Okay. That could work.
We have to go so many places.
It's going to be all right.
Okay.
We have one advantage that they do not.
What's that?
Opposable thumbs.
That too.
Giant.
Posable
sweet
thumbs?
dicks.
Only one of us is underestimating the other. We can do this.
That's a good
Oh, you mean we're the... Are we...
Them.
No.
You're fine. We're the underdogs. We know
So-
we have to be careful.
The plan then is sleep, and then we go to Shorecomb, and then we go under this volcano to the
Well,
anvil.
with
Talking
enough
about
platinum.
Borrowing
Skull seat.
some water breathing equipment before we go.
I can do that to us.
You can do
Yeah,
that.
she can.
I can cast water breathing on you.
Excellent, excellent.
Heroes feast while the breeding, platinum,
breeding,
and then
Platinum. We'll do that in the morning.
and then you
We'll
got
be
to
back
hit
there.
something with a hammer. Be good.
Okay.
Bank in the morning.
Bank in the morning, then off.
And then through a tree.
At
and
dawn.
then there.
All right.
At dawn we bank.
At dawn we bank.
Fabulous.
There's the
Shall we
Loaf of bread, stick of butter.
shall we rest up?
Yep.
Yes.
One more thing before we go to sleep.
Yes.
Not to draw this out any longer. I'm going to, right before bed, just attempt to turn into, using my true polymorph, one of those fun, winged, tall creatures we met at Pelor's place.
An angel?
Wait, to turn who into that?
Me.
Yourself? Yeah. The Planetar, you can definitely do that.
Yeah.
What?
The Planet Man.
With
Really?
true polymorph?
Yeah. And
You've seen it.
there you go. You
I've seen it, but I don't know it.
no, you watch. As are you doing this privately or in front of everybody?
Just in my room.
Okay.
No,
In your
in front of all
Secrets,
this.
man.
In your room, you suddenly grow to the size of a 11, 12 foot muscular humanoid. Bald head, deep blue skin, with beautiful white angel wings that unfurl for a 24-foot tip-to-tip length. You feel holy power surge through your body.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that would work.
Barbarella.
Cool.
Do you do anything?
No, I just kind of stand there naked looking at myself. Anything else that happens in that room, you don't want to know.
As the winged Dr. Manhattan stands there in his room, staring at his own Manhattan junk.
So this is what it sounds like when doves cry.
Just a slow rendition of Hallelujah as you touch yourself through the night.
It puts
Hallelujah. The wings curl in. Hallelujah. All right.
Oh, that was the most home game moment we've ever had.
And on that note, we're going to close tonight's episode. All right, guys. Thanks again always for playing. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you once again to Darren DePaul for coming and guesting this week. Closing Sprigg's story in an interesting way. I wasn't sure how he was going to do that. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Be safe. Love each other. And is it Thursday yet? Good night.
Hallelujah.